we've got two petitions, one filed by Subhashini Ali of the CPIM, while the other has been filed by Mahua Moita, who's an MP from TMC. Both these petitions had challenged the release of these convicts, saying that the proper procedure was not followed, that the victim family was not consulted before the release orders, and more importantly, that in this situation, the government should also have taken into account the impact of this kind of a decision on society before taking this kind of a decision. Now, the Gujarat government, in its affidavit that was filed just a day or two ago, has been very unequivocal in saying that we have followed the remission policy of 1992, that the Supreme Court had given us liberty to follow the policy that was in place when the incident had taken place, when the conviction had taken place, and not the policy that came later that makes it mandatory for the victim also to be consulted. Secondly, what the government has said is that the central government and the MHA has given its approval. There is a letter from the MHA that had given approval to the release of these persons. So all the procedures that are supposed to be followed have been followed. And thirdly, they have said, and I'm quoting here, that these petitions have been filed by busybodies who have no locus to file such a petition and are politically motivated. So the government taking a very clear stand that what they have done is absolutely correct, despite of the fact that of the kind of outrage that this release had created among people. Bilkis Bano herself had come out and done a press conference. But what is interesting is that Bilkis Bano herself has not moved to Supreme Court so far. So we'll have to...
Anisha, keep tracking the latest. So when the plea is heard in the Supreme Court, India Today will be going across to that. Anisha, I do have a quick question because this is specifically about Bilkis Bano case. So the 11 convicts, there was a reason that they were given this remission. So how does that protocol work? So the government is saying there's a procedure we followed, it was approved by authorities, but then there was also some sort of objection to the release. So how was this case, which has now become a massive debate of whether convicts of this nature, accused of this serious crime, should be given remission at all?
Well, Pooja, the remission policy and the jail policy of our country is quite clear. We are looking at a reformatory system in our country and not purely a punitive system, which means that if somebody is showing remorse, if somebody is showing that they have changed, if somebody is showing that they understand what they have done wrong and they are willing to change and become better people, then legally we do have a policy in place that says that, well, their sentence can be commuted or their sentence can be remitted. In this particular scenario, however, the allegation that has been raised is that these people have been released for political purposes. These people have been released to send some sort of a message across, which is something that is being said by the opposition parties. And in fact, Bilkis Bano herself, that when it took her more than 16 years to get any sort of justice, that even, remember, the compensation that was paid to her was just a couple of years ago after Supreme Court had to step in and pass orders to give her some relief. So why is it that the victim had to wait for such a long time, but the convict, the accused person who not only gang raped a pregnant woman, but also were responsible for the murder of a child, why were they shown leniency? That is the question.
Keep tracking the latest. It's a big story. Remember, not just Bilkis Bano was gang raped. Her mother was also gang raped. Bilkis Bano's 3-year-old child, a girl child, was brutally killed in the Gujarat riots in 2002. That's a story that we want to track when the Supreme Court hears the plea. All right, this is sports news now coming in. It's the BCCI general meeting that's underway where Roger Binney is all set to be picked as the new BCCI boss, and that after Saurav Ganguly, who is going to be, who's now the outgoing president, and it's Roger Binney who has been chosen. He's going to be the 36th BCCI president. So it's going to be interesting how that really pans out. What we are being told as these visuals coming in are from Kolaba in Mumbai. The annual general meeting has started. There's a certain procedure that will have to be followed. But what we are picking up is that the name of Roger Binney has been confirmed. Of course, there will be the issue of the ICC chairpersonship. That's also likely to be up for discussion. This annual general meeting, the AGM of the BCCI, where Roger Binney, who's been a former cricketer, for who may not know, will be replacing Saurav Ganguly as the new board president. Remember, BCCI, it's not just about a cricket body. BCCI is seen as absolutely influential, powerful in taking decisions with regard to sports, and that specifically, of course, with regard to cricket. But the election that they're saying is the next set of office bearers will have to take place. Many are calling, if it's Roger Binny who's already been decided, could that be an unopposed election? You're looking at Saurav Ganguly, Jai Shah interacting there, and we are being told that it will just about that meeting to begin. All right, so what we are being told is that Saurav Ganguly's interaction, these are previous visuals. The one where you can see the AGM board members sitting, that's the live visual coming in from Taj Kulaba. I can see Saurav Ganguly, Rajiv Shukla, Jai Shah, they're sitting right now in that board meeting. It's very crucial because, of course, there will have to be an official date. Now, there is going to be a last date also possibly to file the nominations for the ICC top job. All of that is going to be a part of the interaction. But it is once the BCCI decision is announced that we'll perhaps take it to the next level, specifically of the ICC. But just to stay with the BCCI meeting right now, 36th president is who former cricketer Roger Binny is going to be. Now, of course, there are other names as well. So we'll wait for the official announcement to come in. But there are already from our sources telling India Today that it's most likely set to be Roger Binny to be the new BCCI president, and outgoing president is Saurav Ganguly. Right, so that's the big news, and Roger Binny, may not have been in news lately, but for those who have followed cricket for the longest time, Roger Michael Humphrey Binny. Many call him as the good guy. These are some of the terms that are usually used for Roger Binny, but he's now likely to be elevated. It is a very strong, powerful position. This is not just about any sports body or a cricket body. This is the BCCI that does have a strong, influential position. So it's the board of control for cricket in India, and to become the president of that is definitely a strong position to have. There have been, remember, in the past as well about the governing body. BCCI, many would say, is actually one of the richest sports governing body in India, and that speaks in itself of how in the past few years it has gained that influence over the cricketing decisions. Many also talk about, at least the ones who've played with Roger Binny earlier, about the humility despite the talent that Roger Binny brings onto the pitch, and that he's been a thorough gentleman, he's been a thorough professional as a cricket player as well. And remember, Roger Binny was also a part of the 1983 World Cup, had played a key role in India winning the title. So that is also going to be, all of this, remember, is as per merit. The experience that he brings to the table of BCCI, it's not just about a bureaucrat becoming the BCCI president, someone who understands the game of cricket, has played it during a time when there were some crucial matches and titles that India has won. So he definitely has that experience backing him. But outgoing president of the BCCI, Saurav Ganguly, of course, who's been a skipper for the Indian cricket team for the longest time, garnered support from Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee. She's appealing to Prime Minister Modi to send Dada, as he's called Saurav Ganguly, to the ICC. I use the word ICC here because it's not just about BCCI's president today. It's going to be next about the ICC chairpersonship as well. That is going to be a part of it. Let's listen in now to Mamata Banerjee, Bengal Chief Minister, supporting Dada for the ICC top position.
My humble regards to the Prime Minister. Please take care that Saurav must be allowed to contest the ICC election. He's been deprived. Why he's been deprived? What is his fault? Everybody knows him, all the country, all the world. We are proud of him. Not only Bengal, he's a Bengali Dada, Bengali Bhai, brother, but he is a pride for the country and the world. Everybody knows him. So we will request the government, don't take it politically or vindictively. Take a decision. He is not a political party member. Take decision for the cricket. Take decision for the sports.
Election-bound Karnataka has since the start of this year witnessed communal tensions, and now anti-halal protests are set to erupt in Karnataka before Diwali festival. Why the anti-halal protests? There are Hindu right-wing outfits, many of them are fringe outfits, who have come together to start a campaign against the halal products in the state. They are carrying a campaign by distributing pamphlet against halal food which is served at international eateries. This is led by Sri Ram Sena Chief Pramod Mutalik, appealing to the members of the Hindu community to celebrate halal-free Diwali. Mutalik has said halal money is being used against India. Now, this boycott on the halal cut meat made news at the height of the hijab crisis in Karnataka. So, there have been hijab protests, pro and against it, specifically with regard to uniform in schools and colleges. But now it's the anti-halal campaign in Karnataka.
ಹಿಜಾಬ್ ವಿವಾದ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ದೊಡ್ಡದು
After the hijab row came the call for ban on halal meat. Now right-wing Hindutva organizations have demanded a ban on halal products during the Diwali festival. Groups like the Hindu Jan Jagran Samiti are distributing pamphlets against halal food served at international eateries like KFC, McDonald's, etc. They have planned a protest outside these eateries in several districts of Karnataka, including Bengaluru and Shivamogga. The right-wing outfits have claimed that money earned through halal products is used for riots and terror.
मैं केंद्र सरकार को कहता हूं हलाल को बैन करना चाहिए। हलाल सर्टिफिकेट आवश्यकता नहीं है। FSSAI ये सर्टिफिकेट सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट का सर्टिफिकेट है, तो और एक सर्टिफिकेट हलाल का सर्टिफिकेट अनावश्यक है, तो ये फाइनेंस जिहाद है।
The right-wing groups have also alleged that an illegal parallel economy is being run across the country. These groups have questioned the need for halal certification in India.
हमारे धर्म में हलाल नहीं कहा गया है, तो हम क्यों हलाल ले? मेरे कंज्यूमर राइट का क्या, मेरे जो स्वतंत्रता का क्या है? और इसलिए हमने पूरे हिंदू समाज के लिए हलाल मुक्त दीपावली का आह्वान किया है, और इसलिए जिस प्रोडक्ट के ऊपर हलाल का सिंबल होगा वो प्रोडक्ट को बाइकआउट करना चाहिए।
With assembly polls next year, Karnataka continues to witness communal face-offs. Bureau Report, India Today.
The killer potholes have struck again in Bengaluru. This, remember, is a repeated incident and a civic apathy that's caused inconvenience regularly. But now, two women who were riding on a two-wheeler in the heart of the city in Bengaluru, when the rider lost balance because, according to the rider, there was an open stretch of a pothole which is now being filled. But while the rider escaped with minor injuries, the pillion, 50-year-old woman, was grievously injured and has now tragically succumbed. And that the reason was because when they fell, there was a bus driver incoming and the bus moved on and moved over this specific woman. The civic body officials are in complete denial. They're washing their hands of the incident as always. Now a case has been registered against Transport Authority, KRCTC, for the bus that the driver was driving, and zero accountability from the municipal corporation, of course, because as always, they have nothing to say in this case. Now, the bus driver has been arrested. That does have an accountability, but the rider fell because of a pothole. Who takes responsibility of that?
Unfortunately, each death is somehow becoming a latest number in the statistics. That should stop. Each death is a cruel death. It causes a lot of pain, anguish, loss to that particular family. We should understand it and we should approach this whole thing with that humanitarian approach.
So after that woman died in Bengaluru, the BBMP commissioner is now reacting to the pothole death in Bengaluru. The commissioner said, I quote the commissioner here, it's been told that the KSR CTC bus has hit the two-wheeler. Investigation is going on about the pothole incident that took place yesterday. There was a pothole in the accident spot as it's raining in Bengaluru due to the wet road. It is difficult to fill the pothole. Temporary measures are taken to fill the damaged roads. So the BBMP says it is the fault of the driver, the incoming traffic, the driver who's driving on the street. How did he not see a woman has fallen and the bus mowed her over? But the question is, according to the family, the woman who was driving the two-wheeler said that they fell because of a pothole. But the BBMP commissioner says the rainfall leads to some of the damaged roads and we cannot fill it in time. Another life lost in Bengaluru, and it's absolutely shocking that these are because of basic civic issues. Now, the bus driver has been taken into arrest because it was the bus he was driving that mowed over the woman, that went over the woman who had fallen. But she fell in the first place, according to the bike rider, that because there was, as you can see, and these are some of the older visuals, this is it's for representative purposes to help you understand that there are potholes in areas, they fell, lost balance, the woman lost her life. I'm heading into a very short break, but don't go anywhere because I get you the most horrific incident and a case that everyone's been talking about. A 7-month-old baby lost life after the child was mauled by a dog inside a high-rise society in Noida. This is what many people have been complaining about, and it's happened. A child has died. A 7-month-old baby. Protests are erupting in Noida over this incident.
Black holes. Did you ever worry that Earth could get sucked into one of them? Black holes do have a massive gravitational pull that allows it to swallow anything that gets in its way. Let's find out more about them. Black holes have been lurking in the galaxies for billions of years. The most powerful known forces in the universe, their gravitational field is so strong that nothing, not even light, can escape from them. They're actually packed full of space matter, so they're not really holes. There are at least two types of black holes. Stellar mass black holes form when a huge star, more than 10 times bigger than our Sun, burns up all its fuel and collapses in on itself. Scientists say there could be billions in our galaxy, the Milky Way alone. They grow by gobbling up other stars or merging with other black holes to become a supermassive black hole, millions to billions of times bigger than the Sun. Humans can't even see black holes, but we can observe their effect on matter close by. When normal stars are sucked in, they accelerate and heat up, emitting X-rays which are detected by orbiting space telescopes. Have you looked at the back of the water bottle and found that it has an expiry date? The shelf life of water has been debated for long. So let's find out how long stored water remains safe for consumption and what happens if you consume expired water. Treated tap water is safe to consume for up to 6 months if stored well, while sparkling water is safe for up to 1 to 2 years. Tap water might start tasting odd if it gets mixed with the carbon dioxide in the air. However, both tap water and carbonated water are considered safe for drinking for 6 months despite the odd taste. Water in its pure form doesn't expire, but the plastic bottle has an expiry date. Drinking from an expired bottle isn't a good idea. Plastic can start leaching into the water over time and contaminate it with harmful chemicals such as antimony and bisphenol. To preserve water for long, it's important to store it well. The first step is to identify the amount of water to be stored and find a cool and dry place. Copper and steel vessels are ideal for long-term storage. For regular use, one can always opt for BPA-free plastic containers or glass bottles. To avoid contamination, one should refrain from using pipes and fill it directly from the faucet after filtration. If faucet is stored in gallons or drums, there should be a lid on it at all times to avoid contact with air. Exposure to BPA, which is used in plastics, has been known to interfere with reproductive development in animals. It has also been linked with other cardiovascular diseases, immunity diseases, and diabetes in humans. Filtration of water is must. The easiest way is to bring it to boil for around 15 minutes and let it cool. Most modern households use water purifiers nowadays. However, regular servicing of reverse osmosis, purifiers, and changing candles is crucial. Liquid bleaching is rare these days but has been a popular purification method in the past.
Tamil Nadu Assembly is currently in session. It's been high drama already. There's commotion in the House because we are being told that the EPS camp has been evicted from the Assembly in Tamil Nadu. Now, the Dravida Munnetra Kazhagam has tabled a resolution against Hindi language that is going to become as a medium of instruction, as was a report. It's a proposal and a recommendation by the Parliamentary Committee that in the central educational institutions across the country, for example, IIT, IIMs, etc., that the medium of language become the Hindi language. Now, regional languages also have been given that option in areas, for example, where there are not these institutions. But Tamil Nadu Assembly, as you can see, that is where the commotion is. Specifically, Tamil Nadu Netas have stepped up and have said they will not accept this Hindi language becoming a medium of instruction in institutions, and that they are calling it Hindi imposition. But what you see primarily is a resolution is set to be passed against the report that had been put forth about the Hindi language. But now even the EPS camp has been evicted from the House. Let's take a look at this ground report coming in from inside the House in Tamil Nadu Assembly.
Over here, EPS faction. Now AIDMK has been split into OPS faction and EPS faction over there. EPS faction has decided to not attend the assembly. In fact, for more than 20 minutes, there was a ruckus inside the assembly where EPS was raising questions claiming that already they have spoken to the speaker, and the matter here is about seating arrangement. Since June, there has been a huge ruckus inside AIADMK claiming who will be the leader, and as per 2 General Council meetings, then going to the Supreme Court, what has occurred is that now EPS has become the interim General Secretary. Still, as the matter is pending in the Supreme Court, it has been made to be sure that OPS will continue as a coordinator and EPS as deputy coordinator. That has caused all the ruckus. Now EPS team has said that as he has been removed from the post and RB Uday Kumar has been appointed as the deputy opposition speaker, OPS should be only given a seating arrangement just like any other normal MLA, which means EPS and OPS will not sit together. This has been an issue for more than a week now. Now, after talking about it for nearly 20 minutes inside the assembly, on that too on a very important day where the assembly was supposed to pass a resolution against Home Minister Amit Shah's report, whereby which Hindi is to be made as a medium of instruction in central education institutions. Now they have decided to come out of the assembly, where Speaker, instead of walk out, he called in the marshals to evict them, and there you could see the opposition party MLAs have walked out of the assembly. With Vijayazivian from Madhav for India Today.
A horrific incident has come to the fore from Uttar Pradesh's Noida Sector 100. A 7-month-old infant, a baby of a labourer in that society, was mauled to death by a dog in the high-rise society. That happened yesterday evening. Protests have broken out, but the details are so shocking. Baby's intestines were pulled out when the child was being mauled by the dog. It was a stray dog, but inside the society premises where the labourer and his family were. Now, the child died today morning despite they were trying to give him treatment at a hospital, but the child was in a critical condition the whole night. Remember, intestines of the infant child were pulled out by that dog attack. Now, the incident happened in a Noida housing society, Lotus Boulevard. It's in Sector 100, and that is where a lot of high-rise societies are. But now protests have broken out. Angry residents of the society have gathered together. They are demanding Noida authority to take some action in this matter. Remember, there are increasing complaints and incidents of these dog attacks targeting children have surfaced. These are some of the protests that you're looking at from on the ground, from within the society.
तो ये कोई नई घटना नहीं है, कोई पहली घटना नहीं है। हमारी सोसाइटी के अंदर स्ट्रे डॉग्स का जो सड़क के जो डॉग होते हैं वो सोसाइटी के अंदर रहते हैं और उनका इतना बड़ा आतंक है कि हर 2-4 महीने में कोई बड़ी घटना घटती रहती है। नोएडा अथॉरिटी की तरफ से इसमें कोई एक्शन नहीं हो रहा। हमारी सोसाइटी में कोई एओए इसके ऊपर एक्शन नहीं ले रही है। ग्रीन बेल्ट में हम लोगों ने रिक्वेस्ट करी है कि आप उनके फीडिंग पॉइंट सोसाइटी के बाहर बनवाओ। सारे फीडिंग पॉइंट्स बाहर होने चाहिए। अंदर उनको बेसमेंट्स में फीड किया जाता है। ऐसे सिचुएशन है। हम चाहते हैं कि इमीडिएटली इस पे नोएडा अथॉरिटी एक्शन ले।
आए दिन घटना घट रही है। प्रेसिडेंट बड़े परेशान है। लोग इतने परेशान हैं। मैं अपने रेजिडेंट की भावनाओं को समझता हूँ। कुछ लोग ब्लैकमेल करते हैं। एक बार मैंने पहले कुत्ते भगवाए तो लोगों ने यहाँ से ब्लैकमेल किया। मेरे को सुप्रीम कोर्ट तक थ्रेट आई। मैंने उसको बताया कि मैं कहीं भी जाऊँ चाहे फांसी लग जाए, पर मैं अपने रेजिडेंट के साथ।
As you can see, the residents are understandably and expectedly angry over what happened. You're looking at 3 visuals. Let me explain it to you one by one. The first on the corner of your screen where that red arrow and box is from September, where a child was attacked in Ghaziabad, a pit bull dog, a pet dog. This child had received 150 stitches on his face. Miraculously, he has survived with grievous injuries. Since then, there have been repeated incidents from CCTV footage that are being released in different societies across the country. This is not just about Delhi NCR. Even in Mumbai, Pune, there were incidents that have surfaced. Then, as you can see, in Noida, Sector 100, this is Lotus Boulevard, a high-rise society, where yesterday, the child, as you can see, who was being treated, was actually attacked, mauled by a stray dog. It was not even a pet dog, it was a stray dog in the society. The residents rushed the child to a nearby hospital. We, of course, cannot show you the image, but from what you can understand, the child, as you can see, was so grievously injured. The intestines were pulled out during that dog attack. Cannot even imagine what the parent of this child must be going through right now. The child has not survived. The child is no more. Residents are up in arms, they're angry, they want to demand action because if this is one incident, there can be many more. The child has died, remember, that's how serious the situation is. Listen in now to what the residents are telling India Today.
अभी वो बोल रही है कि मैंने उनसे बोला कि 3 डॉग्स काट गए हैं, बोल रही है कि मुझे बताइए, प्रूफ बताइए कि वहाँ पे कौन सा वाला डॉग था। अब इतने सारे डॉग में से हम कहाँ से ढूंढ के लाएं कि वो कौन सा है। उसके बाद में उसको ये बोला गया कि आप डॉग्स लेके आते हो तो कह रही है प्रूफ लाइए, वीडियो है आपके पास, यहाँ प्रूफ है। मैंने उसको अपना कुछ नहीं बताया,
कर दिया उसको, हम उसको वीडियो दे, कितना इनह्यूमन है ये।
It's highly insensitive that a person is talking like this and they are bringing the dogs inside.
किसने उनको अथॉरिटी दी है कि वो गाड़ियों में डॉग्स को, स्ट्रीट डॉग्स को, स्ट्रे डॉग्स को भर के गाड़ियों में लाके सोसाइटी में छोड़ सकते हैं?
कोई कुत्ता काट रहा है ना, तो हमें उसकी हेल्प नहीं करनी, हमें पहले उसकी वीडियो बनानी है, क्योंकि उन्हें प्रूफ चाहिए। तो बचाना नहीं है उस बच्चे को, वीडियो बनानी है,
वीडियो बनानी है। अब ये बताइए कि जब उस बच्चे को काटा गया, कौन होगा वो वीडियो बनाएगा या उसकी हेल्प करेगा, या ये होती कौन है ये कहने वाली कि वीडियो उसको सबूत की तरह चाहिए? मतलब उसमें कितने गट्स हैं, उसको कितना कॉन्फिडेंस है कि चाहे कोई मर आ जाए लेकिन उसका कुछ नहीं हो सकता।
So these dog-related incidents and attacks are now leading to confrontations among residents. We have another this incident coming in from Ghaziabad. This is the NCR region, just adjacent to the national capital, Delhi. What we are looking at here is that this is another dog incident. That a dog parent and a neighbor had a confrontation, the former abusing and heckling. It has even taken an aggressive turn in some areas, because this, remember, is for many also personal issues. For dog parents, for animal lovers, they don't want the pets and animals to be abandoned or be put aside. They want them to be loved. But many residents are saying this is leading to deaths now. This is leading to attacks on children. Milan Sharma on the ground in Noida. She's been getting us the latest. Now, Milan, you're one of the first reporters to have landed in Sector 100 where this incident has taken place. And this, remember, I know that Ghaziabad Municipal Corporation, Panchkula Municipal Corporation and Kanpur Municipal Corporation have given out strict restrictions against some dangerous breeds, as are called ferocious breeds. But this time it was a stray dog. What are you picking up about the residents? How are they reacting? What do they want?
Pooja, I'll just like to tell you that ever since we've showed this live on our broadcast, residents have now actually come out of the Lotus Boulevard Society and have sat down on the road, the main road, and have blocked it completely. We were talking to all these residents in the morning. They said that they will protest against the authority should be here. Should be here. So the protest now is against the Noida authority as well, Pooja. Just look at this. All the residents are out right now, standing and blocking this entire section of the main road that goes to Sector 43, that goes to Sector 46. And now we are looking at a complete block on this whole road, and look at the situation that the residents of a high-rise society, Lotus Boulevard, where at least 10,000 residents stay, have to come out on the road to protest for their demands, to keep stray dogs out of the society, to keep their children safe. At the moment, we are also seeing that the police is also trying to take stock of the situation, and the residents are unrelenting. They are saying that we will not move from here until such time that the Noida authority gives us some response or comes forward with some solution to stray dogs and safety of children. Just showing you scenes right here, Pooja, at the moment, because people are gathered here and they are speaking to the media as well, so I'll just speak to them also. Ma'am, अभी आप सड़कें ब्लॉक कर रहे हैं, आप लोगों की डिमांड क्या है?
सोसाइटी में से स्ट्रे डॉग्स को हटाना इमीडिएटली। छोटे छोटे बच्चे आए हैं, 6-year-old बॉय, क्या विश्वास है हमको? क्या सिक्योरिटी है? कोई सिक्योरिटी नहीं है। स्ट्रे डॉग्स रहेंगे कि ह्यूमन बीइंग्स रहेंगे? को एक्सिस्टेंस सबकी है, बट इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि स्ट्रे डॉग्स घरों में घुस के हमें काटेंगे। ये पॉसिबल नहीं है।
रोहित जी, आप लोग अब सड़कों पर धरना दे रहे हैं, यहाँ पर आपने सड़क जाम कर दी है।
मैम, सुबह 7 बजे से खड़े थे हमने एओए को रिक्वेस्ट करी, रेजिडेंट तैयार होके आए हैं, उसके बाद वो चले गए, कुछ नहीं हुआ। पुलिस आगे खड़ी है, क्या कर रही है? कुछ नहीं कर रही है। क्या डॉग कैचर आए हैं? नहीं आए हैं। 10 बजने को हो गए हैं, 10 से भी ऊपर हो गए होंगे, मगर कोई डॉग कैचर नहीं है। क्या सोल्यूशन मिल रहा है? हम कब तक खड़े रहेंगे? आगे क्या करेंगे हम? हमारे भी बच्चे हैं, हमें भी अपना घर देखना है, मगर हमें फाइनल सोल्यूशन चाहिए। सोल्यूशन तो दो। क्या कोई सोल्यूशन दे रहा है? कोई नहीं आया अभी तक यहाँ पे। सिर्फ आप लोग आए हैं हमें सपोर्ट करने, बट कोई नहीं आया।
मैम आप लोग भी अभी रोड्स ब्लॉक कर रहे हैं यहाँ पर, सो नोएडा अथॉरिटी दिखाई नहीं दे रही है सुबह से, जैसे सर बता रहे प्रेसिडेंट ने भी कोई एक्शन नहीं लिया है। लॉन्ग टर्म सोल्यूशन की बात आप लोग कर रहे हैं, क्या आप दिवाली भी बॉयकॉट करने की बात कर रहे हैं इस बारी?
मैडम ऐसा है, दिवाली एक फेस्टिवल है जो हम सब बनाएंगे और हमें इंसाफ मिल जाता है, यहाँ उस बच्चे के इंसाफ मिलता है तो दिवाली और हम अच्छे से बनाएंगे, क्योंकि ये एक ऐसी हैपनिंग है अगर हम अपने ऊपर रखे देखें तो बहुत ही दिल दहल जाता है कि इसे ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए। क्योंकि आजकल सब ये नोएडा में कह रहे हैं कि कुत्ते बाहर घूम रहे हैं और लोग घरों में बंद हैं, तो ये हर सोसाइटी में आपको देखने को मिलेगा। मैं भी अपनी बेटी के साथ अभी आ रही थी तो 2-3 कुत्ते हमारी तरफ आए, हम वापस गए, छोटा सा डॉग है, हम उसको घर छोड़ के फिर निकले हैं। तो ये हर जगह हर सोसाइटी में है, तो इसके खिलाफ प्लीज कोई कार्रवाई करें हमारा।
Definitely, Pooja, see, residents are asking for justice for the child who has succumbed to the injuries, and there are, yes ma'am, please.
It's not the first time this has happened, and which is why there is so much agitation. 4 years back, there was a 5-year-old child who was sleeping, धोबी की बेटी थी, slab पे सो रही थी, was not even accessible, but despite that 3-4 dogs came, attacked her, mauled her. She was saved, but that was because somebody was there to rescue her. But this child was really small, yeah, it was 7-month-old. Even then, these activists are saying that the child must have provoked. How can a 7-month-old child provoke? Sleeping child. Then there was another incident, a diaper-clad baby. She was playing in the park. She was dragged by 3 dogs. But there's just no respite.
There's no respite and there's no action.
At all. There's no action. We're not allowed to take action. And I think you must have heard this repeatedly, that these activists, they pile the dogs into the car and bring them back into the society. So it's become a very vicious cycle and circle. We're just going through the whole thing over and over again.
Right. So you can see, Pooja, we've been talking to a lot of residents. The police is here as well. There's a confrontation happening.
करके दो ना, उधर तो जाइए आप। ये DDR नंबर
आप सर सुबह से यहाँ पर आप क्या एक्शन ले रहे हैं? क्या एक्शन ले रहे हैं?
पहले आप रोड खाली
सर, कल रात से हम चिल्ला रहे हैं, अगर FIR नहीं हुई है। 4 लोग पुलिस वाले आते हैं, नॉर्मल सोसाइटी को धमकी देते हैं और उनको उठा के जेल में डाल देते हैं। आज बंदा बन गया तो ये लोग आके यहाँ रिक्वेस्ट कर रहे हैं।
आप लोग ने अभी तक कोई एक्शन नहीं लिया है?
3 महीने पहले एक बार उनसे पूछा कि आप कैसे डॉग लवर।
आप रोड तो खाली करो प्लीज।
खाली है, एक लाइन खाली है, जा रहा है ट्रैफिक।
वहाँ ट्रैफिक
Nonetheless, the police is here. They're not answering to us, but they have asked the residents here to clear out this whole road. Pooja, I'll just like to show you, if Alok Das could just pan the camera, there's a massive traffic jam that has taken place right behind where the residents are sitting. This is a very important stretch of road that comes right in from the Noida Expressway and connects all the major sectors here of 100, 47, 43, 55, and this entire chalk has now been chalk blocked by the residents who are protesting over here. The police on their part are trying to make sure that the residents vacate this area, but Pooja, that seems to not be happening at the moment because they are demanding some kind of action from the Noida authority, the actions from the CEO Noida, as well as a permanent solution for stray dog menace that has led to the loss of life for a very little infant who had nothing to do and no provocation to the stray dog. Pooja.
This development, remember, concerns anyone, everyone, not only in Delhi NCR but across the country. It's becoming a huge debate about whether there should be restrictions by administration on having either pet dogs or stray dogs, or is this going to be and should be allowed for our animals also, as animal lovers say. Do not go after the poor dogs. What have they done? This, remember, is not just about Noida. We have a breaking news coming in from Ghaziabad. Ghaziabad civic body, remember, has given out a strong restriction on having pet dogs. It's led to heated discussions now between residents of Ghaziabad. Take a look closely on this visual. This is another dog-related incident from Ghaziabad. This is NCR region adjacent to Delhi. A dog owner and her neighbor get into a confrontation. The former abusing, heckling the latter. The tussle takes place and then takes an ugly turn when the dog aggressively starts to bark at the victim. Let's listen into what happened.
ये बदतमीज औरत वीडियो लोगों को ये क्या कर रहे हो? ये देखो ये क्या कर रहे हो आप? ये क्या कर रहे हो? चलो ठीक है, समझदार है ना? अरे वही तो देख रहा हूँ मैं भी वही देख रहा हूँ सुनो
Tempers are heating up in areas, whether it's high-rise societies or localities, amid the recent incidents of dog attacks, specifically on children, but others as well. Till now, remember, it was just about what can be done, but with leading to death of a child in Noida and attacks in different parts of the country. Ghaziabad civic body has given a strict restriction on the ferocious breeds, which is the Rottweiler, the Pit Bull and the Dogo Argentino. They have put a ban on these specific as pet dogs, but this is now leading to demands and complaints across other areas as well. This is a big debate happening. I want to quickly go across to Milan Sharma, because Milan, you've been there in Noida. Ghaziabad is not very far away, but this also shows that this is now generating a debate. People are asking for further restrictions. Now, what are the animal lovers telling you? What are the protesters telling you? Because this clearly is an issue on which everyone has an opinion.
Well, definitely, Pooja, whether it's Ghaziabad, whether it's Noida, there have been dangerous stray dog attacks in Kerala as well. It's not just an issue of one Ghaziabad or Noida or North India, it's all across. The problem is that when stray dogs are allowed to come inside societies and they are fed, if they were ever provoked earlier, which is the psyche of a dog as well, he might attack. But the human doesn't know whether he will be attacked, and this time the attack has happened on an infant that is 7-month-old, and one can question how a 7-month-old can actually provocate a dog is the biggest question. I have a resident with me, and you can see that there are signatures that have been placed on a paper here for registration of an FIR in this particular matter. Now, I'll just ask him, आप किसके खिलाफ FIR रजिस्टर करने की मांग कर रहे हैं?
हम लोग हमारे जितने भी यहाँ पे एओए है, जिसको हम लोगों ने प्रतिनिधि बनाया है अपना, हमारी सिक्योरिटी एजेंसी जिसको अपॉइंट कर रखा है, जिसकी जिम्मेदारी बनती है कि हम लोगों का बचाव करे जानवरों से, तो स्पेसिफिकली ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है इस टाइम पे जितनी प्रॉब्लम चल रही है. साथ में वो एक्टिविस्ट, जो एनिमल एक्टिविस्ट हैं, जो इन कामों को अड़चन डालते हैं, रोकते हैं. हर बारी कहीं से कहा जाता है कि कॉल्स कराते हैं आप पुलिस के थ्रू, चाहे आप वो NGOs हैं जिनके अगेंस्ट में ये होना चाहिए कि वो हर बार
keep getting us the voices from the ground. I'm wrapping up this bulletin, but as you can see, this is now becoming between animal lovers, activists who are saying don't go after animals, you have to survey what's leading to these attacks. But the angry residents are saying children are dying now. How can you not have stricter restrictions? What do you think of it? Do tell us on India Today. I'm wrapping up this bulletin for now. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned.
A shocking revelation has rocked the chess world. An investigation has found that Hans Niemann, the American grandmaster, has cheated more than 100 times. A 72-page report conducted by Chess.com found that he likely received illegal assistance in more than 100 online games, even in games where prize money was at stake. Suspicion rose when 19-year-old Niemann beat the world champion Carlsen while playing with the black pieces at the $500,000 Sinquefield Cup. He ended the world champion Magnus Carlsen's 53-game unbeaten streak in classical over-the-board games. Carlsen first suggested, then outrightly declared that this American was winning through illegitimate means. Niemann's explanation was that he had somehow guessed what opening the opposition would play. Carlsen abruptly withdrew from the tournament as a sign of protest, suspecting that Niemann indeed was cheating. Niemann first denied those allegations of cheating, but later confessed to violating the rules of fair play at least twice in random games on the Chess.com portal. The investigation made no conclusions regarding Niemann's over-the-board games, but flagged contests from 6 of his in-person events. The investigation further revealed that Niemann privately confessed to the allegations. Chess.com used cheat detection tools that analyzed and compared moves to those recommended by chess engines, studied the player's past performance and strength profile. It monitors behavior such as players opening up other browsers while playing. This is how the investigation was carried out. Niemann said, and I quote, "I was confronted and I confessed. And this is the single biggest mistake of my life, and I'm completely ashamed. I'm telling the world because I don't want misrepresentation and I don't want rumors. I have never cheated in an over-the-board game, and other than when I was 12 years old, I have never cheated in a tournament with prize money. Following this, he has been subsequently banned for a period of time from chess.com, the world's most popular chess platform. FIDE, the sports world governing body, has said that it will convene its own 3-person panel to look into these allegations of cheating.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Everyone's busy finding what's trending. You're busy finding out why. India Today, for those who research before reacting. Download the India Today app now.
You are watching India Today.
Good morning and a warm welcome to India Today. I'm Paulami Saha. These are the headlines we're tracking at the top of this hour. Killer potholes of Bengaluru strike again. 50-year-old woman who was admitted to hospital after falling due to potholes and coming under a bus has succumbed to her injuries. Fresh religious face-off in Karnataka. Right-wing groups have called for a ban on halal meat during Diwali. The fringe outfit has further demanded boycott of eateries like KFC, McDonald's and Pizza Hut. A 7-month-old baby has lost its life after being mauled by a stray dog in one of Noida's high-rise societies. Such was the brutality of the attack that the kid's intestines were pulled out. Massive protests break out inside the society demanding ban on stray dogs. Days after a Kashmiri Pandit was brutally murdered by terrorists, 2 migrant labourers from Uttar Pradesh have been killed in Shopia. But NC patron Farooq Abdullah continues to call for talks with Pakistan.
जब तक इंसाफ नहीं होगा ये बंद नहीं, और इसको बंद करने के लिए जितनी भी शोर करते हैं कि कहते हैं कि जहाँ बहुत सब कहते थे पहले 370 से ये हो रहा, आज तो 370 नहीं है.
Months after Gujarat government released convicts of Bilkis Bano rape case under its remission policy, the Supreme Court is set to take up a plea challenging the order. A DMK functionary is facing fire after he was caught on camera thrashing a doctor and his mother in Tamil Nadu's Nagapattinam district. Anti-halal protests are set to erupt in Karnataka before Diwali. Various pro-Hindu outfits have come together to start a campaign against halal products in the state. They're carrying out a campaign by distributing pamphlets against halal food served at international eateries. Sri Ram Sene Chief Pramod Mutalik on Monday appealed to Hindus to celebrate halal-free Diwali. Mutalik said that halal money is being used against India. The boycott on halal cut meat made news at the height of the hijab crisis in Karnataka.
After the hijab row came the call for ban on halal meat. Now right-wing Hindutva organizations have demanded a ban on halal products during the Diwali festival. Groups like the Hindu Jan Jagran Samiti are distributing pamphlets against halal food served at international eateries like KFC, McDonald's, etc. They have planned a protest outside these eateries in several districts of Karnataka, including Bengaluru and Shivamoga. The right-wing outfits have claimed that money earned through halal products is used for riots and terror.
मैं केंद्र सरकार को कहता हूं हलाल को बैन करना चाहिए. हलाल सर्टिफिकेट आवश्यकता नहीं है. FSSAI ये सर्टिफिकेट सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट का सर्टिफिकेट है, तो और एक सर्टिफिकेट हलाल का सर्टिफिकेट अनावश्यक है. तो ये finance jihad hai.
The right-wing groups have also alleged that an illegal parallel economy is being run across the country. These groups have questioned the need for halal certification in India.
हमारे धर्म में हलाल नहीं कहा गया है तो हम क्यों हलाल ले? मेरे कंज्यूमर राइट का क्या, मेरे जो स्वतंत्रता का क्या है? और इसलिए हमने पूरे हिंदू समाज के लिए हलाल मुक्त दीपावली का आह्वान किया है, और इसलिए जिस प्रोडक्ट के ऊपर हलाल का सिंबल होगा वो प्रोडक्ट को बाइकआउट करना चाहिए.
With assembly polls next year, Karnataka continues to witness communal face-offs. Bureau Report, India Today.
My colleague Sagai Raj is joining me over the phone line. Sagai, how are political parties responding to this call by the Sri Ram Sene to ban halal products ahead of Diwali?
Even last time when this pro-Hindu organization had called for halal ban, even at that point of time, the BJP government here in the state had distanced themselves from all this controversy, stating that they have no relationship with these kind of organizations. But the government did not even try to stop this, saying that there was no law and order situation in the state of Karnataka on this particular issue. After Yugadi and Dasara, now again pro-Hindu organizations have come forward and called for a halal-free Deepavali. not only the meat, any product which is of halal should be boycotted by Hindus. And this particular call was being called by all pro-Hindu activists. And they are also distributing pamphlets to create an awareness amongst the people on allegedly called as halal jihad by these pro-Hindu organizations.
Thank you so much for joining us with those details. Killer pothole strike again in Bengaluru. Two women were travelling on a bike in the heart of the city when the rider lost balance because of the stretch being filled with potholes. While the rider escaped with minor injuries, the pillion rider, a 50-year-old woman, succumbed to her injuries after a bus mowed her down when she fell down on the road. But the civic body officials are in complete denial and washing their hands off the incident.
The city of Bengaluru. From the city of lakes, it's now garnered the unenviable reputation of the city of potholes. And Bengalurians continue to pay the price for the pathetic condition of roads in the city. Two women were travelling on a bike in the heart of the city when the rider lost balance because of this stretch being filled with potholes. While the rider escaped with minor injuries, the pillion rider, a 50-year-old woman, succumbed to her injuries after a bus mowed her down when she fell down on the road.
You can see the depth of these kind of potholes. The depth is very hard, and you can see here it goes up to 3 to 4 inches of depth, and the water is being filled, and the riders, whoever is coming and crossing this particular pothole, are finding no solution.
वो बस वाला साइड में जा रहा था, ये दो लड़की लोग आ रहा था, खड़ा या ना, ऐसा गड़ा था वो, गड़े में आके ऐसा पड़ा, ऐसा वो बस के उधर गिर गया एक लड़की, उसके ऊपर चढ़ गया बस.
These craters on the road are to blame, but unsurprisingly, officials are in complete denial and washing their hands off the incident. Instead, a case has been registered against Transport Authority, KSRTC, and zero accountability from the BBMP.
The road condition is not very good also, so there could be multiple factors. We'll investigate in all the angles and take up investigation how it proceeds. As per the content of the complaint, of course KSRTC, it would be against KSRTC, but again the local authorities and all, based on the content of the complaint, we will take it up.
The BBMP meanwhile maintains an investigation is underway and refused to take cognizance of the terrible condition of the roads in the city.
ನಾವು ಅವರು ಯಾವ ಪರಿಸ್ಥಿತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗಿದೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ಹೇಗೆ ಬಿದ್ದಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಹೇಗೆ ಈ ಘಟನೆ ಆಯಿತು ಅದು ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ಅದು ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ ತಮ್ಮ ಮಾಧ್ಯಮದ ಮುಖಾಂತರ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತದೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ತಾವು ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತೀರಿ. ಅದು ನಿಜ ಏನಾಗಿದೆ, ಹೇಗೆ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ತನಿಖೆಯಿಂದನೇ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತದೆ. ಅದು ಪೊಲೀಸ್ ತನಿಖೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಟ್ರಾಫಿಕ್ ಪೊಲೀಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ನಾರ್ಮಲ್ ಪೊಲೀಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಮಾಡಿ ಅವರು ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಅದು ನೋಡೋಣ.
Soon after India Today reported the latest victim of these death holes, authorities attempted a cover-up. But even then, only covered one part of the giant pothole on the road.
These were the series of potholes that was there in the morning. Now, in the evening, it's been clearly filled up immediately. But just 5 feet behind the pothole that has been filled up, look, another pothole exists. That means the pothole that the woman just fell, only that has been filled up.
This is the reality of the death holes in Bengaluru. Every year, lives are lost, even as authorities make empty promises of the city being made a pothole-free city.
The question is when the civic authorities are going to learn from their previous mistakes and how many more lives will be lost due to this pothole. With your journalist Madhu Sagairaj reporting for India Today, Bengaluru.
News coming in right now. BBMP Commissioner reacts to pothole death in Bengaluru. It's been told that the KSRTC bus has hit a two-wheeler. Investigation is going out about yesterday's pothole incident. He says there was a pothole at the accident site. As it's raining in Bengaluru due to wet roads, it's difficult to fill potholes. Temporary measures are taken to fill damaged roads. That's the defense that the BBMP commissioner has come up with, saying that because it's raining, it's difficult to fill potholes because of the wet roads, and temporary measures, he says, are being taken to fill the damaged roads. This after a 50-year-old woman lost her life. She was riding pillion with another rider on a bike. The bike hit a pothole. It was disbalanced. The pillion rider fell. She injured herself and has now unfortunately succumbed to her injuries. The pothole menace in Bengaluru now taking an innocent life, and the BBMP commissioner says that investigation is going on into the incident. There was a pothole, he admits, at the accident site, but he says because it's raining in Bengaluru due to the wet roads, it's difficult to fill potholes, and he says temporary measures are being taken to fill the damaged roads. Shocking apathy from the civic body in Bengaluru, blaming the rains because of which they're not able to work on potholed roads that have indeed now claimed a 50-year-old woman's life. Let's listen in to what the BBMP has to say in its defense.
The accident is under investigation and the police department is looking into it. The complaint and the statement given by the complainant doesn't say that it was due to pothole. Besides that, the place where the accident has happened, and more places like that on the same road, there is a problem in the road surface. We had put the inspection of that road for today. The accident happened unfortunately yesterday. We had day before yesterday only we had put it for inspection. On this road also there are certain issues, certain patches where the road surface is not good. We are trying to take it up, and we will do it. Because of rains, we could not undertake the full repair of the bigger stretches. As soon as that is over, we will take the whole stretch resurfacing. But till that time, we will take up the patchwork.
Supreme Court is also set to hear the plea challenging the remission of 11 convicts in the Bilkis Bano case today. Now, this comes after the Gujarat government stated that the convicts of the Bilkis Bano case were granted early release after the centre approved it. In an affidavit, the Gujarat government stated that the Union Home Ministry had approved Bilkis Bano's rapists' release due to their good behaviour. The decision was taken as per the 1992 remission policy issued by the Apex Court. Responding to the statement, the government said that it took opinions of at least 7 authorities before granting remission to the convicts, whereas Mumbai SP, the Central Bureau of Investigation, Mumbai, and Special CBI Judge, City Civil and Sessions Court, Greater Mumbai, opposed the release of the convicts. Remember, the convicts were released from Godhra jail on August 15, which sparked off a massive row.
On 3rd March 2002, Bilkis Bano was 21 years old, mother of a 3.5-year-old daughter and 5 months pregnant. She, along with her daughter Saleha and 15 other family members, fled their village Radhikapur in Dahod district in Gujarat on 28th February of 2002. They fled in the aftermath of the burning of the Sabarmati Express in Godhra, resulting in the deaths of dozens of pilgrims and car sevaks returning from Ayodhya. Communal violence erupted throughout Gujarat. 3 days after they left their village, they reached Chaparwad. Bilkis Bano, her mother, and 3 other women were raped and brutally assaulted on 3rd March. Her daughter Saleha was also brutally murdered by the assailants. Of the 17-member group of Muslims from Radhikapur village, 8 were found dead, 6 missing. Only Bilkis, a man, and a 3-year-old survived the attack. She registered a complaint with Head Constable Soma Bhai Gori, who, according to the CBI, suppressed material facts and wrote a distorted and truncated version of her complaint. Bilkis was taken to a public hospital for medical examination only after she reached the Godhra relief camp. Her case was taken up by the National Human Rights Commission and Supreme Court, which ordered an investigation by the CBI. The Central Bureau of Investigation concluded that the post-mortem examination was carried out shoddily in order to protect the accused. CBI investigators exhumed the bodies of those killed in the attack and said that none of the 7 bodies had skulls. According to the CBI, the heads of the corpses had been severed after the autopsy so that the bodies could not be identified. Bilkis Bano received several death threats. The trial was moved out of Gujarat to Maharashtra. In the Mumbai court, charges were filed against 19 men, including 6 police officers and a government doctor. In January 2008, a special court convicted 11 accused of conspiring to rape a pregnant woman, murder, unlawful assembly, and of charges under other sections of the Indian Penal Code. The head constable was convicted of making incorrect records to save the accused. 7 persons were acquitted by the court, citing lack of evidence. 1 person died during the course of the trial. The court held that Jaswant Bhai Nai, Govind Bhai Nai, and by then deceased Naresh Kumar Mordia had raped Bilkis. Shailesh Bhatt killed her daughter Saleha by smashing her on the ground. Others who were convicted are Radhe Shyam Shah, Bipin Chandra Joshi, Kesar Bhai Vohania, Pradeep Vohania, Baka Bhai Vohania, Raju Bhai Soni, Nitesh Bhatt, Ramesh Chandana, and Head Constable Soma Bhai Gori. Despite being bystanders to the crime, these accused were convicted of rape and murder as being part of an unlawful assembly distributes the liability of the crime, is what the court observed. All 11 convicts were sentenced to life imprisonment by the court. In May 2017, the Bombay High Court upheld the conviction and life imprisonment of 11 people in the gang rape case and set aside the acquittal of 7 people, including the policemen and doctors. In April 2019, the Supreme Court directed the Gujarat government to give 50 lakh rupees as compensation to Bilkis within 2 weeks.
A horrific incident has come to fore from Uttar Pradesh's Noida. A 7-month-old baby of a labourer was mauled to death by a stray dog in a high-rise society on Monday evening. The baby's intestines were pulled out in the brutal dog attack. The child died this morning in a hospital after being in a critical condition the whole night. The incident happened in a Noida housing society, Lotus Boulevard, situated in Sector 100. Angry residents of the society gathered together and demanded the Noida authority take action in the matter. Now, according to one of the residents of the society, there are many stray dogs living in the basement of the society. They are also being fed inside the society.
अभी वो बोल रही है कि मैंने उनसे बोला कि 3 डॉग्स काट गए हैं, बोल रही है कि मुझे बताइए, प्रूफ बताइए कि वहाँ पे कौन सा वाला डॉग था। अब इतने सारे डॉग में से हम कहाँ से ढूंढ के लाएं कि वो कौन सा है। उसके बाद में उसको ये बोला गया कि आप डॉग्स लेके आते हो तो कह रही है प्रूफ लाइए, वीडियो है आपके पास या प्रूफ है, उसको अपना कुछ भी नहीं बताती। कर दिया उसको, हम उसको वीडियो दें, कितना इनह्यूमन है ये।
It's highly insensitive that a person is talking like this and they are bringing the dogs inside.
किसने उनको अथॉरिटी दी है कि वो गाड़ियों में डॉग्स को, स्ट्रीट डॉग्स को, स्ट्रे डॉग्स को भर के गाड़ियों में लाके सोसाइटी में छोड़ सकते हैं।
कोई कुत्ता काट रहा है ना, तो हमें उसकी हेल्प नहीं करनी, हमें पहले उसकी वीडियो बनानी है, क्योंकि उन्हें प्रूफ चाहिए। तो बचाना नहीं है उस बच्चे को, वीडियो बनानी है,
वीडियो बनानी है। अब ये बताइए कि जब उस बच्चे को काटा गया, कौन होगा वो वीडियो बनाएगा या उसकी हेल्प करेगा, या ये होती कौन है ये कहने वाली कि वीडियो उसको सबूत की तरह चाहिए। मतलब उसमें कितने गट्स हैं, उसको कितना कॉन्फिडेंस है कि चाहे कोई मर आ जाए लेकिन उसका कुछ नहीं हो सकता।
बस यहाँ खड़े हैं, अभी तक कोई एक्शन।
Radhika Suryavanshi, Campaigns Manager, PETA India, is joining us live this morning. Radhika, thank you so much for joining us on India Today. Let me make it clear and let me put it out there first. I, in fact, reside in this very society where this incident has taken place. This has shocked every one of us. A child, an infant's intestines were mauled out by a dog attack. There were 25 places on which the dog had attacked this 7-month-old baby. I've seen the photograph of the intestines out. It is disturbing to say the least. The child did not survive despite a whole night of surgery. Radhika, what can be done?
First of all, I would like to point out that this has I mean, this is an extremely sad incident, and this is not normal. Dogs are usually very playful, and people welcome them in the society because they are treated with respect everywhere. But the solution over here is a sterilization program. Every municipality is required to sterilize and vaccinate these animals and return them back. This ensures that the animals that are residing in your areas are calm. They because they are sterilized, there are no attacks, there are no fights between themselves also for territories or for food, for mating. So sterilization is a scientific method which can be used to make sure that this dog population does not increase and that they are calmer so that they do not attack. We request the residents of the society also to take this up to make sure.
If I may interrupt over there, how is sterilization going to help? If a dog attacks an infant, a 7-month-old infant who's just lying there, his labourer mom was working on the society, she was working over there, she'd kept the baby next to her. Now a dog attacks that baby, that 7-month-old infant, how is sterilization going to help?
See, an effective sterilization program, they are surgically neutered and then returned to their own area, which has been proved, it has been scientifically proved that it results in the dogs being calmer, their aggressiveness goes down, which will definitely reduce and stop these attacks. So
reduce or stop these attacks, Radhika? Reduce or stop these attacks? Will they reduce, which means there are still chances? There are still chances that stray dogs could in fact attack a helpless 7-month-old infant that is lying there on the ground.
See, this is not what do you say? This is not something you hear of every day. This is an incident which has, usually they are very friendly. Usually dogs are very friendly animals and they live in these areas. They coexist with us, and the same way we should be coexisting with them. We are building new cities. We are entering the areas that they were living in. So please try to understand that by removing these animals, see, if 20 dogs are in your area, if you remove these animals, other 20 dogs will occupy the vacant space. So removing them from these areas is not only illegal, it is also not, it will not be successful. The only effective way is to sterilize them and to return them to these areas so they become calmer, that they're not aggressive. A lot of people are also talking about animal feeders, and the Animal Welfare Board of India recommends that the feeding happen at a certain spot that is mutually discussed and decided.
Unfortunately was not happening. That unfortunately was not happening in this society. There are designated areas to feed the dogs, but unfortunately that was not happening. They were being fed inside the society, and that is the problem, which is what the residents of the society are saying, that you can feed them, you can keep them, but take them home if that is what it means, because otherwise they're terrorizing the little children out there, and an infant has died. Radhika, thank you so much for joining us this morning. In yet another dastardly act of terrorism, 2 labourers hailing from Uttar Pradesh were killed by terrorists in Shopia district of Jammu and Kashmir today. The non-local labourers have been identified as Manish Kumar and Ram Sagar. Both the victims are residents of Kannauj district of Uttar Pradesh.
They are saying that the government must look into this matter, because people are getting killed, innocent people are getting killed in the Kashmir Valley, and terrorists are targeting innocent people in the Kashmir Valley, whether it's the Kashmiri Pandit community members or poor laborers from UP or Bihar. So the people here are saying that the government needs to strengthen the security grid in the Kashmir Valley, and they should also transfer all Hindu government employees to Jammu, because situation in the Kashmir Valley is not conducive for the survival of the Hindu community members. You can see that slogans are being raised against Dr. Farooq Abdullah, National Conference Chief. Remember, yesterday Farooq Abdullah said that targeted killings won't stop in the Kashmir Valley till justice is delivered. He did not specify what he meant by justice, but clearly there is anger among the Kashmiri Pandit youth over the statement of National Conference Chief Farooq Abdullah. With video journalist Neeraj Kumar, this is Sunil Bhatt reporting from Jammu for India Today.
So you can see the anger which is now spilled out onto the streets over there. Those protesters, they've been protesting for many days now. Just a few days ago, a Kashmiri Pandit was assassinated by a terrorist, Puran Krishan Bhatt, and today two labourers, non-locals who were working in Kashmir from Uttar Pradesh, hailing from Kannauj district, have also been killed in the same district of Shopian. The anger has now spilled out onto the streets. They're demanding action. They're demanding protection and security from the administration of the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. They're saying, in fact, protesting against the statement of National Conference patron Dr. Farooq Abdullah, who has still batted for talks with Pakistan, despite there being ample amount of evidence that these are Pakistan-sponsored attacks on innocent lives in Jammu and Kashmir. So, in yet another dastardly act of terrorism, two labourers hailing from Uttar Pradesh were killed by terrorists in Shopian district of Jammu and Kashmir today. The non-local labourers have been identified as Manish Kumar and Ram Sagar. Both the victims are residents of Kannauj district of Uttar Pradesh. My colleague Sunil Ji Bhatt is joining me live from Jammu. Sunil Ji, we saw the anger which has spilled out onto the streets. Those are in fact protesters who've been sitting there for a very, very long time. Sunil Ji, speak to them, ask them what do they demand today, because these targeted killings of Kashmiri Hindus, Kashmiri Pandits and non-locals continue unabated in Jammu and Kashmir.
Yes, Polemi, there is no end to targeted killings in the Kashmir Valley. Yesterday also, late last night, two Hindu laborers were killed by terrorists in South Kashmir's Shopian district. And right now here in Jammu, you can see that hundreds of Kashmiri Pandit government employees who recently fled the valley are staging protests against the targeted killings that are taking place in the Kashmir Valley. The protesters here are raising slogans against the government as well as against National Conference Chief Farooq Abdullah. Because remember, yesterday Farooq Abdullah said that targeted killings won't stop till justice is delivered. He did not elaborate that what he meant by justice, but there is anger among the protesters here over Dr. Farooq Abdullah's statement. Here you can see that slogans are being raised. We will directly talk to some of the protesters who are raising slogans. Yesterday, Dr. Farooq Abdullah, National Conference Chief, said that targeted killings won't stop. What do you have to say?
This is the biggest irony right now. The Kashmir is bleeding, India is sleeping, and these politicians are mocking us. They are mocking our lives. Everybody is playing on our lives. This paying deaf ears to our demands. Deaf ears to our demand is not going to be acceptable to us.
You feel that politicians are insensitive towards what is happening in the Kashmir Valley right now?
Of course. They are supporting, they are telling that this is an injustice. You have to do justice. These killings will not stop. How they can give this insensible statements on the killings? They should work on the root cause why they are happening. They should give us some statements that how these stopping should be killed. They are telling that why these killings are happening. They are not putting a final full stop to these genocides.
Here we will also talk to some women protesters. Ma'am, there is no end to targeted killings. Two more Hindus have been killed by terrorists in the Kashmir Valley. What do you have to say?
But sir, this is enough now. We are just scapegoats to our politicians or our government. Government is not doing nothing to stop killings of Hindus in Kashmir, and they are just ignoring continuously us, the Kashmiri Pandits.
What do you have to say to the Prime Minister if he is listening to you right?
He is just still ignoring, continuously ignored by them, who are both Prime Minister and Home Minister.
The government is insensitive?
Yes, absolutely. They are insensitive to Kashmiri Pandits and non-local Hindus who are just working in Kashmir. They are doing nothing for our security in Kashmir.
Following these Kashmiri Pandit government employees have been on dharna here for last more than 150 days. Their demand is that they should be transferred to Jammu region because the situation in the Kashmir Valley is not conducive for their survival. And behind me you can see that hundreds of Kashmiri Pandit youth are chanting slogans against Pakistan. They are demanding justice. They are raising slogans against NC patron Farooq Abdullah. They are saying that politicians, whether they are from the National Conference, BJP, all of them are insensitive towards the plight of Hindus in Kashmir. And they are saying that the government must strengthen the security grid in the Kashmir Valley, and all Hindu government employees who are serving in the valley must be transferred to Jammu region because their lives are under threat. Follow me.
Their lives are under threat. That is what they're telling you at the moment. Indeed, we're seeing an unabated spate of targeted killings in Jammu and Kashmir, and then of course the insensitive statements that are coming in as well. National Conference patron of course saying that we should continue to talk to Pakistan, knowing fully well that Pakistan is sponsoring these targeted killings. Sunilji, thank you for joining us with those details. Now, amid rise in targeted killings in Jammu and Kashmir, National Conference Chief Farooq Abdullah has stoked yet another controversy, implying that revocation of Jammu and Kashmir's special status was injustice. The former Chief Minister said that the recent spate of targeted killings would not stop if justice was not served. He also deemed the abrogation of Article 370 as the reason for rising targeted killings in the valley. BJP hit out at Farooq Abdullah for his remarks and highlighted development work in the valley under the central government post-abrogation of Article 370.
सर टारगेट किलिंग लगातार कश्मीर में हो रही है सर अभी भी कल 2 दिन पहले जो है कश्मीरी पंडित
ये कभी बंद नहीं होगा जब तक इंसाफ नहीं होगा कभी बंद नहीं और इसको बंद करने के लिए जितनी भी शोर करते हैं ये कहते हैं कि जहाँ बहुत सब कहते थे पहले 370 से ये हो रहा आज तो 370 नहीं है मेरी क्यों मृत्यु हो रही है इसके जिम्मेदार कौन है बताइए मुझे
दुनिया में बताया जा रहा है कि हालात हमने बेहतर कर दिए
अगर वो बेहतर कर दिया तो फिर पंडित बेचारा मारा नहीं जाता कहाँ है हालत बेहतर
शायद डॉक्टर फारूक अब्दुल्ला साहब भूल गए हैं कश्मीर की सड़कों पर होने वाली पत्थरबाजी हर रोज कश्मीर में बम बंदूक पिस्तौल गोलियों के शोर बॉर्डर के ऊपर भारी घुसपैठ बंद हड़ताल के जो कैलेंडर कश्मीर में जारी होते थे कश्मीर को अस्त व्यस्त करके रखा था एक ज़माना था कि कश्मीर में अलगाववादी और आतंकवादियों का तांडव चलता था आज वो दौर ख़त्म हुआ है
ये पॉलिटिकल पॉइंट स्कोर करने की बात नहीं है कि हम थे तो 10 हुए तुम हो तो 12 हुए ये पॉलिटिकल पॉइंट स्कोर करने की इंसान की जो जीवन की कीमत है उसको हम पॉलिटिकल नाप तोल में ना डाल दें लेकिन जो हो रहा है उसके बारे में जो लोग वहाँ से अनुभवी ज़मीन के लोग हैं उनसे बात करने की आवश्यकता है सिर्फ अपने मन में ये तय कर लेना कि हम ये करेंगे तो इससे सब ठीक हो जाएगा वो सही नहीं
मतलब लोग इतने ज़्यादा परेशान हैं उनको ज़बरदस्ती श्रीनगर में भेजा जाता है वो अनसेफ हैं उनकी किलिंग की जाती है वो मारे जाते हैं घरों के घर खाली हो रहे हैं ये तो 370 जाने से ये बोलते थे कि सवारी बाग दिखाते थे दूध की नदियाँ बहेंगी वो तो हमने कहीं देखा नहीं है उल्टी लोगों को मारा जा रहा है ये तो टोटल फेल है
Slipping into a short break, coming up next, after being questioned for over 9 hours by the CBI on Monday, Delhi Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia accuses the probe agency of pressurizing him to quit the Aam Aadmi Party. Details on the other side.
You are watching India Today.
I don't read the news. I read between the lines to tell you the true version of events. The true story of our times.
To document grief, the toughest assignment for any journalist to be.
From those who matter.
Women politicians going to stick up for each other.
Of those who should matter. I document the truth. I don't distort the truth. I don't glamorize the truth. I don't gloss over the truth. The ghosts of India's contentious medieval history have come knocking again. I hustle for the truth, on the ground, in the newsroom, in the studio. I don't try to grab eyeballs. I inform you to make you see the point.
To the Point with Preeti Chaudhary. At these times, only on India Today. Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com. Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices.
We must fall in love with what we do, because being an entrepreneur is a lot of hard work and overcoming a lot of adversity. From that love will come the dedication that will get us out of bed at 4 a.m. because of a great idea we had, and get to work till 11 p.m. and not feel tired. In 2013, Mundra right now is the second largest port in India with 80 million tons of handling. In this journey of 19 years, starting from zero, we have been able to achieve a top line of 2,500 crores, EBITDA of 1,500 crores, and a market cap of 30,000 crores. This is entrepreneurship.
watching India Today.
Anti-halal protests have erupted in Karnataka before Diwali. Various pro-Hindu outfits have come together to start a campaign against halal products in the state. They're carrying out a campaign by distributing pamphlets against halal food served at international eateries. Sri Ram Sene Chief Pramod Muthalik on Monday appealed to Hindus to celebrate halal-free Diwali. Muthalik said that halal money is being used against India. The boycott on halal cut meat made the news at the height of the hijab crisis in Karnataka. Cutting across live now to my colleague Sagai Raj, who's joining me from Bengaluru. Sagai, these protests that have broken out across the state of Karnataka, what are they demanding?
You can see pro-Hindu organization Hindu Jana Jagrati Samiti members are protesting in front of McDonald's and KFC here in Basveshwar Nagar in Bengaluru, and their only demand is to boycott halal meat, and they have also given a memorandum to the managers of both the outlets requesting them to not serve halal meat to Hindus, and they are also asking that they have to segregate between halal and non-halal meat, and it should be also mentioned in the menu when they serve non-halal meat to Hindus. We are joined with national spokesperson of Hindu Jana Jagrati Samiti. Thank you so much for talking to India Today, sir. Sir, आपका डिमांड क्या है, आज क्यों प्रोटेस्ट कर रहे हैं और नेक्स्ट लेवल कहां लेके जाएंगे आप?
जी देखिए, हमने पूरे भारत के स्तर पर इस हलाल मुक्त दिवाली अभियान का प्रारंभ किया है। अभी महाराष्ट्र, गोवा और कर्नाटक में ये प्रोटेस्ट है, पूरे देश में ये प्रोटेस्ट बढ़ेगा, क्योंकि हमारा सिर्फ यही कहना है यहाँ पर कि यदि मैकडोनाल्ड का ग्राहक हिंदू है तो उसके ऊपर हलाल की ज़बरदस्ती क्यों है। आज मैकडोनाल्ड, पिज़्ज़ा हट, KFC, ये सारे जो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है, सारे इंस्टीट्यूशंस है, ये सारे के सारे सिर्फ हलाल खाना सर्व करते हैं। हम हिंदू हैं, हम ये नहीं कहते कि मुस्लिम के लिए क्या खाना सर्व करना है, लेकिन जो चीज़ हलाल उनके लिए है वो हमारे लिए क्यों ज़बरदस्ती है। मुसलमानों के लिए तो गाय भी हलाल है, तो क्या आप हमको गोमांस खिलाओगे? यदि वहां पर जो भी हलाल सर्टिफाइड रेस्टोरेंट है वहां पर पोर्क आपको रखने की अनुमति नहीं है, पेपरोनी पिज्जा रखने की अनुमति नहीं है, तो ये सारा यहाँ पर डिक्टेटरशिप क्यों चल रहा है इस देश में। और इसलिए हमारा ये अधिकार है, ये जो दिवाली जो है वो हमारा फेस्टिवल है, तो इसके अंदर जिस जिस प्रोडक्ट के ऊपर हलाल का लोगो रहेगा वो सारे प्रोडक्ट को बाइकआउट करने का हम आह्वान करते हैं।
आपने बोला था कि मेनू कार्ड में भी हलाल और नॉन हलाल का मीट का सेग्रीगेट करके देना है।
एग्जैक्टली हमारा यही कहना है कि भारत में यदि सेक्युलरिज्म है और सभी धर्म को आज़ादी है, तो फिर जैसे हलाल खाने के लिए आज़ादी है वैसे हम हिंदू हैं, तो हमारे लिए नॉन हलाल फूड क्यों नहीं वहाँ पर रखा जा रहा है। और इसलिए भारत में हिंदुओं को और हमारे सिख भाई जो है उनके लिए तो झटका मीट है, तो फिर वहाँ पर ये मेनू में क्यों नहीं रखा जा रहा है। हमने
सर व्हाट वी विल डू, व्हाट इज द नेक्स्ट लेवल ऑफ प्रोटेस्ट दैट यू गोना टेक इट फॉरवर्ड?
वी हैव गिवन ए 1 week time. If it is not going to be happen, we will make a big propaganda in all the outlets by giving the pamphlets and all those things, and we will fight for the legal battle also.
If you notice, there are many Hindu shops also.
Yes.
The other community members also who have halal shop. There are also Hindus going, Muslims going. What do you have to say about that? Even international products from India, which has been exported abroad, is also having halal certification.
See, this Bangalore city is now a silicon city. All type of the peoples are coming, but only the thing, whether the question is whether the minority people can rule the majority people. Here the minority people are the Muslims. They have got only the 20% or the 20 crores. 100 crores people they are ruling.
So this is the voice of the people. This is a voice of pro-Hindu organization which is demanding halal-free Diwali. Back to studio.
Sagai, thank you so much for joining us with those updates from the ground. News coming in right now. Former Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Jayalalitha death probe report tabled in Tamil Nadu Assembly. Committee recommends inquiry against Shashikala and C. Vijay Bhaskar and others. These are the details emerging from the report which has been tabled in the Tamil Nadu Assembly. This is the report into the death of former Tamil Nadu Chief Minister J. Jayalalitha. That probe report now, in fact, conducted by the committee, has been tabled in the Tamil Nadu Assembly, and that committee has recommended an inquiry against her former aide and confidant Sasikala and C. Vijaya Bhaskar and some others as well. A day after being grilled by the CBI, Sisodia has left for Gujarat for poll campaign. Manish Sisodia, who was interrogated for over 9 hours by the Central Bureau of Investigation, made some shocking allegations against the probe agency. Sisodia called this entire case fake and accused the BJP of misusing the probe agency. He said that the questioning was done under the Operation Lotus that is at play in the national capital, claiming that he was pressurized to leave the Aam Aadmi Party. Sisodia said that he was offered the chief ministerial post. Minutes after Manish Sisodia, in fact, came out of the CBI interrogation, Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal took to Twitter announcing that Manish Sisodia will be campaigning in Gujarat today. Meanwhile, refuting the charges leveled against it, the CBI immediately issued a statement saying that the examination of Sisodia was carried out in a professional and legal manner. The probe was strictly conducted based on the allegations against him in the FIR, is what the CBI said. They added that the investigation will continue as per the law.
सीबीआई का ईडी का जितना दुरुपयोग भारतीय जनता पार्टी कर रही है वो अब सबको पता है। पूरी सीबीआई और ईडी को उन्होंने केवल और केवल राजनीतिक मशीन बना के रख दिया है। ये किसी से छुपा नहीं है आज। तो सीबीआई के ऑफिसर्स ऑफ कोर्स सरप्राइज होगा लोगों को अगर सीबीआई प्रेस रिलीज जारी करे कि हाँ जी हमने ऑपरेशन लोटस किया था, लेकिन एक्साइज पॉलिसी पे कहीं फोकस नहीं है। एक्साइज पॉलिसी में कहीं कोई करप्शन नहीं है, एक्साइज पॉलिसी में कहीं कुछ नहीं मिल रहा है उनको। ये बात कल की पूछताछ से ये और साबित हो गई मेरे सामने कि सब पूरी तरह से फर्जी मनगढ़ंत कहानियां बनाई हुई हैं। लेकिन ओवरऑल कल का मुझे बुलाने का मकसद वहां यही था कि मुझे इस बात के लिए डराया जाए कि किसी तरह से मैं आप छोड़ने को तैयार हो जाऊं, मैं किसी तरह से बीजेपी में शामिल होने को तैयार हो जाऊं। मैंने साफ साफ कह दिया, भारतीय जनता पार्टी इतनी गंदी पार्टी है कि इसमें शामिल होना अपने आप को खत्म करना है, अपनी आत्मा को मारना है किसी भी कीमत पे। और फिर अच्छे स्कूल बनवाना, अच्छे अस्पताल बनवाना, बच्चों की पढ़ाई की अच्छी व्यवस्था करना, मुझे इसमें मजा आता है। मुझे सीएम बनने में थोड़ी मजा आता है।
ऑपरेशन लोटस कर करके ही ये लोग सरकार को गिराते तोड़ते हैं। क्या किया इन्होंने महाराष्ट्र में, क्या किया अरुणाचल में, क्या किया आसाम में, क्या किया बंगाल में। ऐसे तमाम नेता जिन पे सीबीआई की जांच चल रही थी उनको तोड़ा, उनको अपनी पार्टी में लाए। तो इसका सीबीआई का, ईडी का, जांच एजेंसियों का इस्तेमाल करते हैं। वही बात मनीष सिसोदिया ने कही। तो ऑपरेशन लोटस चलाकर वो दिल्ली की, पंजाब की सरकार गिराना चाहते हैं। तो हम बहुत दिनों से कह रहे हैं।
Yesterday, Mr. Sisodia was grilled for almost 9 hours by CBI. Now, when he came out, he said that you people are harassing, the BJP government is harassing him in the name of investigation because you are losing Gujarat.
I think nothing can be more fake and a lie than this, for the simple reason that none of these, I mean, I don't want to over speak about the capacity of my workers in Gujarat. They have to work till the end of the election because no election is complete till election is complete. And none of them have the capacity to make us lose Gujarat. I can write it on a stamp paper. But the issue here is completely different. The issue here is that this gentleman, Mr. Sisodia, is grilled by CBI because till CBI collects all the documents and papers and trails, accounting trails, it just doesn't come up with any kind of interrogation and all. So CBI has done its job of collecting those documents and papers, and now they will be asking details based on those documents, and that's why he's been called. And 9 hours of grilling means the document trail must be really huge. There must be a lot many documents, and thus he's been asked these questions.
देखिए, गुजरात का इलेक्शन है और गुजरात में आम आदमी पार्टी जैसे जैसे मजबूत हो रही है
और जैसे जैसे जीत की तरफ बढ़ रही है वैसे वैसे ये आम आदमी पार्टी की लीडरशिप को जो है परेशान कर रहे हैं, बेबुनियाद दुखी कर रहे हैं, पकड़ रहे हैं, बगैर किसी सबूत के ये लोग जो है परेशान कर रहे हैं और जेलों में डालने का काम कर रहे हैं। भाई जैसे FIR कराते हैं वैसे संबंधी का बुला भी लेते हैं। ACB किसके साथ कात में काम कर रहा है, किसके कंट्रोल में? इन्हीं के तो कंट्रोल में। ये तो जिसको चाहे जैसे चाहे जिस एजेंसी का इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं।
गुजरात की बात, कभी 2024 की बात, कभी इंडो IT की बात, कभी ऑपरेशन लोटस की बात, परंतु जो सवाल के जवाब है वो नहीं दे पा रही है कि अगर इस पॉलिसी में कोई गड़बड़ घोटाला नहीं था तो इस पॉलिसी को वापस क्यों लिया गया। और इससे पहले भी जो CBI को लेकर इन्होंने झूठ बोला है, CBI के अफसर के बारे में झूठ बोला है, उसका भी पर्दाफाश हो चुका है। ये वो पार्टी है जिसने LG पर आरोप लगाए, माफी मांगनी पड़ी, हाईकोर्ट ने फटकार लगाई।
News coming in right now. Big relief for Tejasvi Yadav in the IRCTC scam case. The CBI court says no ground to cancel bail and warns the Bihar Deputy Chief Minister to not make such public statements. This after he allegedly threatened CBI officers. The CBI court there has refused to cancel Tejasvi Yadav's bail in the IRCTC scam case, and it has also warned the Bihar Deputy Chief Minister to not make public statements. This after he allegedly threatened CBI officers. Here are the top stories we're tracking at the top of this hour. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will go to Ayodhya on the 23rd of October, a day before Diwali. On Narak Chaturdashi, he will visit Ramlalla and review the construction of the Ram Temple. National Investigation Agency conducted raids at multiple locations in Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan and Delhi region to dismantle the emerging nexus between terrorists, gangsters and drug smugglers or traffickers based in India and abroad. BSF shoots down Pakistani drone carrying 2 kilograms heroin in Amritsar's Rania border outpost. The drone is approximately 2 kilograms, 12 kilograms in weight. 2 propellers sustained damage due to the firing by BSF troops. Mumbai Airport will remain closed for 6 hours today in order to continue with its superior airport operations, repair and maintenance work. Both its runways will be closed from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. There will be no flight movement during these hours. At least 4 passengers died on the spot while 15 were seriously injured in an accident at the Kapurai Bridge National Highway in Vadodara between a trailer and a luxury bus. The injured were taken to hospital for treatment. And that's a wrap on this bulletin. For all the latest news and updates, you can log on to indiatoday.in. You can also download the India Today app. Thanks for watching.
You are watching India Today.
Remember them? Amber Heard and Johnny Depp have both been busy with their lives ever since the defamation trial. And everything seems to be going quite well for Johnny. He's returning to movies with the role of King Louis XV in Jeanne du Barry, has found love in his former lawyer, Joel Rich, and recently made 20 times the profit for his Queensland mansion. This isn't just any house, but it is the place where the infamous incident of Depp losing his finger took place. Amongst the many fights that were mentioned in court of the former couple, this incident was one to stick out quite a bit. He sold this mansion in Australia for $40 million. The house had 10 rooms with 10 bathrooms and a wine cellar with a capacity of 2,000 bottles along with a go-karting ground within that premises. To get into the details of this infamous incident, Heard had been throwing bottles at the actor, 2 bottles in fact, the second one resulting in a cut finger. Amber Heard did not agree to this version and said that Johnny Depp had instead been throwing those bottles due to anger, and that's how he cut his own finger. The incident has taken place in 2015 and has been brought up in trial multiple times. Now, as the dust settles on the defamation trial, Johnny Depp has been seen doing quite a lot of concerts with his close friend Jeff Beck. And Amber Heard, on the other hand, is peacefully living her life in Spain. She will be seen next in Aquaman 2.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices.
Is it so hot and humid in your city that you're finding it difficult to fall asleep? Well, you are not alone. Hundreds and lakhs of people in India are facing this problem, and now it has been documented. It's now clear that heat waves are messing up our sleep patterns. This has to do largely with your body temperature in the night. Our bodies are tuned in to dropping body heat in the night to help us sleep. The hormone melatonin serves essentially as a natural alarm clock. When it's nighttime, it widens the blood vessels in our hands and feet to get rid of heat from our bodies. So what really happens when the air around us is too hot? When temperature goes up, deep sleep gets affected. Deep sleep for at least a few hours is the bare minimum we all need to ensure our body truly gets the rest it requires.
Sleep deprivation can lead to various mental health disorders. The most commonly seen are depression and anxiety. Chronic insomnia, that is chronic sleep disturbances, can lead to something called as early onset dementia, which is again a memory disorder. So it is important in order to maintain our mental health as well as physical health that we give ourselves adequate sleep.
Now, there is not just the problem of rising temperatures, there is also the problem of the pandemic. COVID-19 has interfered with our sleep patterns, and this too has now been documented. The pandemic ruined sleep cycles. The stress and anxiety of COVID added to the work from home patterns completely hit our lifestyle choices. A recent survey by a social media platform found that 54% Indians surveyed confirmed that their sleep patterns have changed post the pandemic. Many of these Indians speak about the fact that they're suffering from sleep apnea, finding it difficult to go off to sleep or sleep properly at a stretch altogether. This has now even got a term called coronasomnia, caused by personal stress, by grief of losing a loved one, and even anxiety over any COVID-related news.
You're joining us live here on India Today on the special edition of Lunch Break. We're going to be focusing on the horrifying, tragic story that's emerged from an upscale society in Noida. A stray dog attacking a laborer's infant, a 7-month-old, has died. It's opened up this massive debate, something we've been speaking about for the last many months here on India Today, about the stray dog menace, what needs to be done to ensure that these dogs are taken care of, but at the same time, it doesn't happen at the cost of human lives. We're going to be discussing that. A look at the headlines first. 7-month-old baby loses life after being mauled by a stray dog in Noida's high-rise society. Kids' intestines were pulled out by the dog. Massive protests break out in the society demanding a ban on stray dogs. Killer potholes of Bengaluru strike again. 50-year-old woman who is admitted to hospital after falling due to a pothole and coming under a bus succumbs to her injuries. Fresh religious face-off in Karnataka. Right-wing groups call for a ban on halal meat during Diwali. Fringe outfit further demands boycott of eateries like KFC, McDonald's and Pizza Hut. Days after a Kashmiri Pandit was brutally murdered by terrorists, 2 migrant labourers from Uttar Pradesh also killed in Shopia. NC patron Farooq Abdullah, however, continues to call for talks with Pakistan.
जब तक इंसाफ नहीं होगा ये बंद नहीं, और इसको बंद करने के लिए जितनी भी शोर करते हैं कि कहते हैं कि जहाँ बहुत सब कहते थे पहले 370 से ये हो रहा, आज तो 370 नहीं है.
Months after Gujarat government released convicts of Bilkis Bano rape case under remission policy, Supreme Court all set to take up a plea challenging the order.
Seven-month-old mauled to death. Infant mutilated by a stray dog. 7-month-old's intestines pulled out. Dog attack reported in upscale Noida society. Showdown in society breaks out over strays. Residents up in arms over the death of the infant. Residents demand a ban on stray dogs.
बस यहाँ खड़े हैं, अभी तक कोई एक्शन लिया गया है? अभी तक कोई भी एक्शन नहीं लिया गया, कोई भी एक्शन नहीं लिया गया.
Deadly dog attack.
Truly horrifying incident that's come to light in Uttar Pradesh's Noida. In an upscale society, a 7-month-old baby, this was an infant of a labourer, was mauled to death by a stray dog in a high-rise society. This happened on Monday evening. Now, the kind of information, the details that have emerged are gory, shocking to say the least, because what we're hearing, according to nearby residents as well as the authorities, is that the baby's intestines were actually pulled out in this brutal dog attack. The child was rushed to a hospital, obviously because of the critical condition he was in, died this morning in the hospital. The incident happened in a housing society called Lotus Boulevard. If you live in Noida, you know where this is. It's situated in Sector 100. Angry residents of the society gathered together. They've demanded that the Noida authorities immediately take action in this matter. According to one of the residents of the society, there are many stray dogs living in the basement, which is a threat to them, and they're saying that they're also being fed inside the society. So some residents came out saying, ensure that stray dogs aren't allowed inside a society. There were many others who said that this was some sort of provocation that led to an attack by the stray dog.
बस यहाँ खड़े हैं, अभी तक कोई एक्शन लिया गया है? अभी तक कोई भी एक्शन नहीं लिया गया, कोई भी एक्शन नहीं लिया गया सिवाय बातों के. नोएडा अथॉरिटी को यहाँ पे होना चाहिए. नोएडा अथॉरिटी की बहुत बड़ी गलती है. नोएडा अथॉरिटी आए और इसका सलूशन दे. एओए भी कुछ नहीं कर सकते. लोग प्रदर्शन कर रहे हैं नोएडा अथॉरिटी के खिलाफ. बिल्कुल, कुत्ते उन्होंने छोड़ रखे, क्यों नहीं हटवाते? हमारी समस्या, आज बच्चा मर गया, कल हमारा बच्चा मरेगा. वो बच्चा हमारा बच्चा है. होली के दिन, त्योहार के दिन उसका बच्चा गया है. कितना बुरा हुआ है और हम लोग बहुत परेशान हैं. 6 साल से आए हुए, ये समस्या का अंत ही नहीं होता है. हर बार ये आते खत्म करेंगे. एमएलए आते, वोट मांगते, चले जाते हैं. हमारी कोई सुनता ही नहीं. मैं 6 साल से यहाँ रह रही हूँ. रोज कोई ना कोई इशू चलता रहता है यहाँ पर डॉग्स वाला. एवरी सम डेज, आफ्टर सम डेज कुछ ना कुछ चलता रहता है डॉग इश्यूज.
All right, I want to introduce now Milind Sharma. She's joining us live from the society. Has been constantly speaking to some of the angry residents there. Also with me on this broadcast is Radhika Suryavanshi, campaigns manager of PETA India. Milind, I'd like to take this across to you first. Get us a sense of, how residents are reacting, because we understand that some of them are saying that the right way to go about this is not a ban on stray dogs. Others are saying that the situation is out of control in the society.
Well, let me just show you the current situation, Akshita, since we've been reporting throughout the morning on this particular issue. Things have changed and developments have taken place. So right behind me, you'll see that there is a Noida ACO, Noida Authority, Mr. Indu Prakash, who's also here. He's spoken to the residents, but I don't think the residents have actually agreed to what he has to say at the moment. I'm also going to try to speak to a few other residents here. Rohit ji, ये बताइए कि आप नोएडा की CEO, ACO यहाँ पे पहुंचे हैं, तो उन्होंने आपसे क्या कहा? बिकॉज आप लोगों की डिमांड है कि स्ट्रे डॉग्स को हटाया जाए. आर दे बीइंग रिमूव्ड राइट नाउ?
सी देखिए, उन्होंने अभी 2 गाड़ियां तो भेजी है अंदर, और अभी हम बाहर हैं तो हमने ये विटनेस नहीं किया कि उन्होंने गाड़ी से डॉग्स उठाए हैं कि नहीं उठाए, और उन्होंने भेजी तो है. अभी उन्हीं के आश्वासन पे हम चल रहे हैं कि यस वो एक्शन लेंगे. बट पॉइंट ये है कि वो बाद में जब डॉग्स को उठा के ले जाएंगे और फिर बाद में कहाँ छोड़ेंगे? क्या वो यहाँ छोड़ेंगे या कहीं और छोड़ेंगे, या फिर वो सिचुएशन फिर से क्रिएट हो जाएगी?
क्योंकि वो कह रहे हैं कि डॉग्स को अभी ले जाएंगे यहाँ से, लेकिन उनको स्टरलाइज करके वापस यहीं छोड़ देंगे.
क्योंकि मैं आपको ये बता रहा हूँ, जो कल 2 डॉग्स से जो स्टरलाइज थे उन्होंने ही अटैक किया है, तो क्या स्टरलाइज डॉग भी अटैक नहीं करेंगे? ये कौन बताएगा?
क्या है, आप प्रूफ के साथ कह सकते हैं कि वो डॉग स्टरलाइज?
हमारे यहाँ पे ये है कि जो अगर डॉग अंदर फीड होता है तो उसको हम यहाँ पे पहनाते हैं, तो वो एक प्रूफ आइडेंटिटी के लिए वो यहाँ पे फीड होता है और स्टरलाइज है. उसके अलावा और कोई प्रूफ नहीं है.
So residents are still not convinced with what the Noida Authority ACEO has told them. He has said that the dogs will be taken out from the society. Right now also we have residents all across. They are still waiting for a final word from the ACEO, who's speaking to people, trying to convince them. At the moment they're not on the roads. They have been taken aside by the Noida police as well, and they are saying that despite the fact that those were the dogs, there were 3 dogs, Akshita, that attacked that innocent 7-month-old baby that was lying on the side of the towers where the mother of the child was working. There was no provocation at all, and that is the reason that they are trying to assess whether even the dogs are sterilized. Why would they be allowed to be fed inside the society is the demand at the moment, and the Noida Authority has told them in front of us that they will once again be let inside the society. That still remains to be a conundrum that needs to be resolved over here. Until such time, Akshita, I see that the residents here are still not moving from this location, and they have decided to continue with their protest.
You know, the anger from the residents is very, very much understandable, because they're worried for their own safety, they're worried for their kids, and something like this happening, it's shocking and tragic. A 7-month-old baby who's lost his life because of this kind of an attack by 3 dogs, as Milind is telling us, inside that society. But is the answer then a ban on stray dogs? Questions will be asked of the authorities of why they didn't do enough, because very clearly, and this has been established time and again across the country, you look at the example of Kerala as well, the need of the hour is to ensure that there's proper registration, there's proper tracking, and importantly, proper sterilization that's followed of these dogs. I want to take in Radhika also, who's the campaigns manager at PETA India. Radhika, what do you make of this incident? You know, this is a debate that comes up very, very often in residential societies, because in the last few months, we've also seen repeated such incidents of not just stray dog attacks, but pet dogs also targeting others.
First of all, I'd like to say that this incident is extremely sad, and this is not normal. Dogs, even stray dogs, are usually very friendly and welcoming. People like to play with them, like to pet them. So this is definitely a tragic, sad incident. What needs to be done, what's the need of the hour, is sterilization. By effective sterilization, this is the only scientific method which makes sure that you know, the population is stable and that no fighting happens, no attacks happen. We request that the community, you know, the society people work with the municipality in a way that all the dogs in the area are sterilized, so that these attacks don't happen.
No, according to some of these residents, Radhika, these dogs were sterilized, they were neutered, and despite that, this kind of an incident happened. And, you know, you can understand the anger of the residents, because yes, there are questions being asked of the authorities, but these residents are worried for their children next.
That is understandable, but we have to also recognize that removing these animals from these areas is not an option, because if you remove these animals from the area, other animals will come and take up the vacant space. That is why when I say that sterilization and a stable population is the only way to reduce the the number of issues that are happening, to stop these attacks, this is the reason why that any animal that is removed the space will be taken up by another animal. So we also request that, if people were talking about feeders and feeding that is happening in the society, the AWBI, Animal Welfare Board of India, has a circular which says that it has to happen with a mutually decided space, either inside or outside the building, which is discussed and decided by the society people. And it should not be near play parks or in places where people roam around a lot, or in a specific corner of the society. So we request that these rules also be followed. I would also like to point out, just like you said, that a lot of attacks have been happening. We have been taking cognizance of that, but please know that these attacks, the community dog attacks, are much less than the companion animal attacks. Pet dogs, majorly pit bull attacks are happening around the country. We've noticed that a lot of attacks in Gurgaon, Ghaziabad, Punjab have been happening. And we as PETA have been requesting a ban on the breed. We have requested
that's happening. That's happening in several districts. So there's been a lot of talk also, a lot of discussion about whether a ban is the answer, even in this particular case. When these residents come together, they're banding together and saying that, ban stray dogs within the society. Is that practical in a country like India when you have so many dogs roaming across in the streets? And then do they get more aggressive if you don't feed them? And what happens on the streets of the country then, which will be filled with these dogs? I want to bring in Ritika Goyal also, who's an animal welfare activist. Ritika, I'm sure you'll join me in condemning what's happened in the society in Noida. A 7-month-old's life has been lost. Now, there are several people who are saying that maybe the animal was provoked, but we're talking about an infant here.
I understand, and my condolence to it. This is not easy, but I'd also like to bring to your notice that dogs, the community dogs, are a part of the urban wildlife. They're extremely important. Why? Because they eat away dead bodies of rats. They cut down the population of cats, so on and so forth. They're extremely, extremely important. Now, I think, to be very honest, we really need to learn to live with animals and share our planet. I'll tell you how. There are so many community feeders who are being harassed. Now, if we really want to work together, I would really recommend the societies to work together with dog feeders, because dog feeders, the only one can help you. Right now, what's happening is every dog feeder is being harassed. They are harassed, they're disturbed. The community dogs that they work with, they also, are also disturbed because they've been chased, they've been killed, they've been poisoned.
Okay, Ritika, my apologies for interrupting, but I just want to cut across to reactions that are coming in, live reactions from the Noida authorities right now.
कानून या कोई प्रावधान दे सकती है कि स्ट्रे डॉग्स को सोसाइटी के अंदर ना आने दिया जाए किस तरीके से?
देखिए, हर सोसाइटी के गेट बने हुए हैं। गेट पे उन्होंने ऑलरेडी जो है अपने वो रख रखा है गार्ड। अगर वो अंदर आ रहा है तो वो रोकेंगे नहीं, वो आएगी सोसाइटी, वहाँ अथॉरिटी तो नहीं रोकेगी। आपको अगर रोकने से कोई रोक रहा है, फिर अथॉरिटी और पुलिस दोनों हस्तक्षेप करेगी, अंदर नहीं जाने देगी।
तो जब डॉग कैचर्स की जो वैन आती है सर, जब डॉग कैचर्स की वैन आती है तो कहा जाता है कि कुछ एक्टिविस्ट हैं जो रोक लेते हैं उनको, कुत्तों को नहीं ले जाने देते, तो इस पर सर क्या एक्शन लिया जा सकता है?
देखिए, हाँ,
उसमें क्या एक्शन लिया
क्वेश्चन किए जाए जिससे हमें निस्तारण मिले। बातों से पेट नहीं भरेगा, आप बातों से पेट नहीं भरेगा, सब नकली बातें हैं सारी।
एक्शन लिया जाएगा
नहीं होना
सर। अभी यहाँ पे चलिए, कहाँ है रेजिडेंस, कहाँ है?
Okay, so you can hear that there's quite a bit of questions being thrown at the Noida authorities there on the ground. If Milind Sharma is with us, I'll just take this across briefly to her again. Milind, what are the Noida authorities saying? Because many of the residents you've spoken to also put the onus on them, saying they did nothing to ensure successful sterilization drive.
कोई ठोस जवाब जो है सीईओ नोएडा अथॉरिटी जो एसीईओ हैं इंदु प्रकाश, उनके पास से नहीं मिल पाया। आलोक दास के साथ मिलन शर्मा, आज तक।
Okay, Milind has just filed that report for us. She's telling us that there's been no concrete answer that's coming from the Noida authorities. Ritika, I'll come back to you. My apologies for cutting you short earlier. You were making a point about dog feeders. Look, as someone who is also a dog lover who cares for these stray dogs, Ritika, I understand where you're coming from. But today, you have to also understand why there's an overwhelming sentiment saying that, look, stray dogs shouldn't be allowed inside societies. This isn't the only incident. Look at the kind of incidents that have been reported in Kerala as well. What is a concrete solution to ensuring this kind of incidents, these kind of attacks on people don't happen? We're talking about, a 7-month-old baby whose intestines were pulled out.
Like I said, your best bets are the dog feeders, because the dog feeders know their way around with the dogs. They can work with the dogs and make sure that they're more friendly and approachable to humans, because understand, dogs are territorial. Because that's their nature, we can't manipulate that or change that or control that. So the best way is to work with your dog feeders, form a community that will work with the dogs, sterilize them, like my fellow activist just mentioned over there, vaccinate them, deworm them, and also work with them to be okay if a human approaches them. That is your best bet. Work with your dog feeders. They are your best bet.
No, but they can't. Are they around all the time, Ritika? We have to be practical in a society, and many of them in Noida are very, very big. They're very vast, and these kind of dogs have a lot of human interaction, right? How do you know when one's going to get aggressive and attack a baby like this?
So see, dogs are not really aggressive by nature. They are territorials, and with the cases of dogs being poisoned, strangled, chased off, this does create a sense of fear in the dogs, right? This is where your dog feeders come in, and this is where you need to work with your dog feeders and have an understanding. One thing what we can also do is identify places far away from your society, from gates, from play parks, where they can feed the dogs. So there's a lot that we can work together, but the society and the animal feeder community have to come together and work together. This is the only best bet. But listen, one thing is for sure, we cannot eradicate the dogs. We need them. They're a part of our urban wildlife, for sure.
When residents today at Lotus Boulevard, where this incident happened, are saying that, you shouldn't allow stray dogs inside the society. Feed them outside. Is that a fair demand?
Well, to be honest, the dogs, how did the dogs even come into the society? Let me go back a little bit. Usually it's a bare land, right? Dogs start living over there. Then a constructor gets the land, construction happens over there. That's how the dogs land up being over there. It's not that they, once the apartments build, the dogs come in. Dogs have always been there, right? So I'm not really sure, but we can work this around. For sure, we can work this around.
No, but what's also the messaging, for people right now who are watching this broadcast, who will be extremely, extremely concerned about their own children, about their infants, their toddlers when they go out to play in the evenings, about what happened in this particular case, where more often than not, everyone says that unless a dog is provoked, they don't respond in this kind of a way. But then you have this kind of an incident of a 7-month-old being killed by 3 dogs. In such a circumstance, what is your message to residents who say, hey, we're scared for our children?
I completely understand, and it's a very difficult time for the family who's gone through this. It's not easy, and this is definitely very agitating, and I can totally understand there's a hostile situation amongst the animal welfare activists that are there, and also, the people who live over there. But I think, again, we need to work together on this. There's nothing to fear. There are so many kids who grew up with dogs and wild animals, right? It's, again, the way you condition the animals. So I really don't know. To be very fair, I'm not really sure what exactly happened. What is the history with the dogs and the society people over there, to be very honest. So I'm not really going to say much, but one thing is for sure, animals can be conditioned either in a positive way or a negative way. This is exactly why, again...
All right, Ritika, I'm cutting you short because we're cutting across to big breaking news that's coming in from Kedarnath of a helicopter crash that's been reported in Kedarnath. The chopper was of Aryan Aviation. Sketchy details that we're picking up right now, but we're putting out the latest images that we've picked up of this chopper tragedy in Uttarakhand. We're still, in fact, getting in information about exactly what's happened and whether there have been any casualties, but I can tell you right now that Civil Aviation Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia has also tweeted, and he said, I'm quoting here, the helicopter crash in Kedarnath is extremely unfortunate. We're in touch with the state government to ascertain the magnitude of the loss and are constantly monitoring the situation. So Scindia has confirmed that this kind of a tragedy has occurred. We don't know yet about whether there have been any casualties, how many people were in that particular chopper. This chopper was part of Aryan Aviation. Now, we don't know if it was, in fact, the information at least we have right now is that this particular chopper was ferrying some pilgrims. How many exactly? Not sure. Ankit Sharma is joining us with more details on this. Ankit, what's the information we're able to pick up? Any update coming in on how many people were on board that chopper?
Well, it's a private aviation company which carries passengers every day and carries out operations from Kashi to Kedarnath and carries the passengers every day who are pilgrims who are coming to Kedarnath. So this is a very devastating news coming in right now. The helicopter has crashed in Garudchatti area, which is 2 kilometers before Kedarnath. And as per the news coming in, we have not received updates from the authorities as how many people are injured or someone has killed. Yet, administration is looking into it, and soon we'll get the details.
We understand that in Kedarnath right now there is inclement weather, so obviously there's going to be a lot of talk that perhaps that was the cause for this crash. But the latest images show, in fact, you see those thick plumes of smoke emerging from a fire after the chopper crashed in that area. From what Ankit is telling us, this is a regular route taken by this chopper. Yes, Ankit? That this particular chopper goes around this area ferrying pilgrims back and forth every day?
Yes, it falls between Guptkashi and Kedarnath helipad area, and it's a valley. So the administration is looking into it. What were the probable reasons why the helicopter got crashed? So right now the rescue operations have started, and soon we'll get the details.
Okay, I'd just like to once again read out what Jyotiraditya Scindia, the Civil Aviation Minister, has said. The helicopter crash in Kedarnath is extremely unfortunate. We're in touch with the state government to ascertain the magnitude of the loss and are constantly monitoring the situation. Ankit, any information coming in on, the make of the chopper? Because that could give us details of how many pilgrims could have been on board the helicopter.
Well, it's a private chopper. It's a aviation chopper that most of the private agencies operate, and it can onboard at least 6 people. So I think, as per the reports we are getting, 6 people were on board, excluding the pilots.
Okay, Ankit getting us those details, saying 6 people were on board, excluding the pilot. So in all, 7 people on board that chopper. We're keeping our fingers crossed. Prayers pouring in right now to hope and pray, really, that the pilgrims who are on board are doing okay. But looking at the images that are coming in, it is very, very dismal. It looks like, in fact, that crash has happened in the valley below. You can see that fire raging on. Several locals, we understand, have reached the spot. Have rescue officials also gotten there yet, Ankit? Because we understand it's almost in a gorge that this crash has happened.
Yeah, as we know that Kedarnath is at a very high altitude, and the valley is also a deep valley. So the helicopter where the crash has happened is a deep gorge, and it will take time because of the weather, and it's already cold very there because snowfall has been happening. Early snowfall happened this year, so it is going to be a task for the authorities and agencies to carry out the rescue operations.
It is going to be quite a challenge, because you can see in those images also how deep the gorge is. Visibility right now is also very, very poor. The teams, the rescue teams right now have left for the spot, but no confirmation on whether they've actually reached the chopper crash site just yet. It is going to be hugely challenging, of course, for them to get there. This is a tragedy that's playing out right now in Uttarakhand. A chopper carrying pilgrims. Ankit is telling us that 7 people were on board, including the pilot, and the chopper was making its way, a routine route that it takes from, in fact, Fatah. It was moving and unfortunately has crashed in that valley, possibly due to inclement weather, but we'll await details on that as well. Casualties feared we're tracking the latest that comes in on this, and the communication that's coming from the government is only that they're tracking right now what's happening very, very closely. As I said, the rescue teams are currently on their way to the spot. So once they reach the site is when we'll be able to get you any update really on the condition, the plight of the pilgrims who were on board that chopper. 7 people in all, including the pilot, who were in that chopper. This is a regular routine route that the pilot takes. So in all likelihood, it was because of the poor visibility, which you see on your screens as well in the images that we've accessed here on India Today from very close to that site. You can also see how deep that gorge is. So for officials to actually reach the site is going to be quite a challenge. Jyotiraditya Scindia has also confirmed that, saying that they're tracking all the updates that come in very, very closely. Now, the administration team has left for the spot. Obviously, right now, there is a fear that there could be casualties. Looking at the images that are coming in of the fire that's broken out soon after the chopper crash. There will also be questions right now about why the chopper took off. If the weather conditions were so poor, if the visibility was so poor, Ankit. But any information, any communication that's coming from the local administration there?
Well, as of now, the administration hasn't spoken yet. There were no information regarding any adversity of the weather conditions as well. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is expected to arrive on 21st, and the preparations were in full swing. And these are the last days before the closing of portals of Char Dham Yatra. So pilgrims and devotees are passionately arriving in large numbers to this valley. So this is a very unfortunate incident that has happened in the last days of the portals closing, and for the winter season, the Kedarnath Mahadev will come down to Gupta Kashi. So this is a very tragic incident, and as of now, the administration is looking into the details as well as starting up the rescue operations. Like I said earlier, the forces have started the rescue operations and trying to reach the accident area as soon as possible. But right now, we are unaware of the number of people injured or killed in this horrific accident. This is the routine operation carried out by aviation. Passenger in large number fly to Kedarnath in chopper, and then they come down to Gupta Kashi as well. So the administration is right now looking into preparing a task group so that they can reach the site as soon as possible, and will start getting the details.
Right. Ankit, of course, they're bringing us all the details of this unfortunate tragedy that has taken place in Uttarakhand. The administration, as he says, will try to reach the accident site as soon as possible. Ankit, any more details as to how soon the administration and officials can reach the ground?
Well, if you look at the geographical conditions, the terrain is very harsh, and around the helicopter has gone down in a deep gorge. So reaching out to this area would be a challenging task for the authorities, though presence of armed forces is also there. Security agencies are already there because Prime Minister is arriving on 21st. So just 2 days before this unfortunate incident has happened is shocking for the state as well, and for the administration. So the rescue team is trying to reach the area as soon as possible. But like I said, the geographical terrain is really harsh over there.
Okay, so Ankit, just to bring our viewers up to speed with what has happened in this very unfortunate accident which has taken place this morning in Uttarakhand. At what time did this helicopter take off and when was the crash in fact reported?
Yeah, the crash was reported an hour ago, and like every day the normal operations were carrying out. The chopper took sortie from Gupta Kashi to take the passengers to Kedarnath, and in the midst of this area in Garud Chatti, crash happened and the helicopter has crashed into a deep gorge. So authorities are now looking into the rescue operations, and they are preparing and they're trying to reach the area as soon as possible. Yet we are not aware of how many people are injured so far. Like I said, this helicopter can onboard 6 people maximum, and pilot plus co-pilot. So you can say that 8 people were onboarding this chopper in total. So we are yet to get more details on it, and then we can flash what happened exactly.
Okay, so you're saying that 8 persons were on board this helicopter which has crashed in Garochatti in Uttarakhand. It was en route to Kedarnath when this incident took place. It crashed into a deep gorge, and it has, as you can see in those images over there, tragically caught fire. The administration will, of course, try and reach there as soon as possible, though it's going to be difficult because the terrain is very difficult. Ankit, any preliminary information that's emerging as to what caused this crash? Was it the inclement weather in the area? And if the weather forecast was such, why did the pilots take off?
Well, as per the preliminary investigation, says that the weather forecast was fine at the moment, but the agencies will look into it in depth and will find out that what happened and why the chopper went down. So agencies would look into it, but first the rescue operation has to start so that people can be evacuated by the agencies and injured to be taken to the hospital.
Ankit, are there any injured that you can report about, or were there 8 persons on board the helicopter who've unfortunately died in this tragedy?
Well, it's a big incident, and the chopper has gone down, so the number of people onboarding the chopper would obviously injured and could be severely injured. But right now we are not aware of the numbers as to how many people are injured or someone has died. We are yet to get reports from the authorities, and then we can say the numbers.
Right. Ankit, of course, they're trying to get more details as to what exactly happened. This, in fact, was reported just a short while ago. That is when, in fact, news of this crash came in. This helicopter, which was en route Kedarnath in Uttarakhand, there crashing. It was the Bell 407 helicopter, and the aviation minister, Jyotiraditya Scindia, has also tweeted about this incident. He has tweeted, and I quote, "The helicopter crash in Kedarnath is extremely unfortunate. We are in touch with the state government to ascertain the magnitude of the loss and are constantly monitoring the situation." So that is what, of course, the aviation minister has said. At the moment, the administration is, of course, trying to reach the ground as soon as possible so they can, in fact, try and retrieve the bodies, unfortunately, of the deceased in this unfortunate tragedy that has taken place in Kedarnath. Remember that this has obviously disturbed the administration on the ground, because only in a few days from now, on the 21st of October, the Prime Minister is slated to visit both Kedarnath and Badrinath as well between the 21st of October and the 22nd of October, at such a time when the administration is on high alert for an incident of this kind to transpire. This has obviously shaken the authorities. They're trying to reach the ground and trying to ascertain the details as to whether the pilots, in fact, were apprised of the weather, and or is it after takeoff that the weather, in fact, took a turn for the worst. They're trying to, of course, ascertain more details about this at the moment. Ankit is, of course, trying to give us more details. So, Ankit, any further details that you can tell us about this crash? We believe it happened just 2 kilometers away from Kedarnath, which was the destination of this chopper. Okay, we'll try and reconnect with Ankit, my colleague Ankit Sharma there, bringing us all the details. He's, of course, trying to gather more details, because those details are only just trickling in at the moment of this unfortunate tragedy that has taken place in Kedarnath. The administration, of course, rushing to the spot to try and, in fact, retrieve the bodies. Ankit is still with us over the phone line. Ankit, any further details that you've gathered about this crash? Bring us up to speed with what exactly happened and all the information that is available to you at the moment, Ankit.
Yeah, we are getting first visuals from the area, and according to that, we can see a burning thing in the deep gorge, and probably it's the same chopper which crashed. And it's very devastating to see such a scene right now. And we are also being informed that there was a heavy fog when the chopper was taking off to take was returning from Kedarnath back to Gupt Kashi when this incident happened.
So that is, of course, what Ankit is telling us at the moment. Those details, of course, emerging from that accident site, and those first pictures, of course, coming in of that unfortunate tragedy that has, of course, taken place in Uttarakhand. We're trying to ascertain more details as to what exactly caused this tragedy, but the Civil Aviation Ministry has also taken note of the same. In fact, the Aviation Minister has just tweeted a short while ago about it, and he said, Jyotiraditya Scindia has tweeted and said, the helicopter crash in Kedarnath is extremely unfortunate. We are in touch with the state government to ascertain the magnitude of the loss and are constantly monitoring the situation. So the ministry, of course, coordinating with the authorities on the ground in Uttarakhand, trying to get help as soon as possible to the accident site itself. This happened when pilgrims were en route to the Kedarnath shrine earlier this morning. At least 6 people have died in this unfortunate tragedy. It is, in fact, reported that the weather was extremely bad in the area. This happened just about 2 kilometers away from Kedarnath itself. The weather completely packed up, as a result of which this chopper, unfortunately belonging to Aryan Aviation, crashed in this deep gorge in the hills of Uttarakhand. More details are awaited at the moment, but there is, of course, a report coming in that at least 6 persons have died in this unfortunate crash that has taken place. The helicopter also, from images that we are seeing right now, seems to have broken up into multiple pieces and then caught fire. In fact, this helicopter was en route from Fata helipad towards Kedarnath when, in fact, this accident took place. The administration, of course, confirming that 6 persons were, in fact, those who died in this unfortunate crash that has taken place in Uttarakhand. The Ministry of Civil Aviation is currently coordinating with the authorities on the ground to see that, in fact, help reaches the ground as soon as possible. Those first pictures, of course, we are bringing to you live on India Today at the moment. Those exclusive images that are coming in from the site of that accident, which is near Kedarnath. You can see the aftermath of that accident over there. Ankit, this seems like a very, very unfortunate tragedy, because from the images that you're bringing to us now from the ground itself, the helicopter, the chopper, seems to have broken up into multiple pieces before it caught fire.
My chopper is split into pieces, and you can see the burning as well. So the fire is coming out from the chopper, and as you can see, it's a rugged valley. It's a harsh terrain, and the rescue agencies are trying to reach the area as soon as possible. The incident to have been reported at 12 noon, and the primary reasons for this incident is being told to us as a heavy fog was the reason why the chopper crashed. Though we are yet to get confirmation from the authorities when they'll investigate what made the chopper crash and
Hold
why
on for a
was
minute. Dr. Pradeep Bhardwaj is over the phone line with us. He's providing medical aid on the ground itself. Dr. Bhardwaj, any details that you can tell us about the number of persons who've been injured in this accident, and if there are any fatalities? The administration, of course, reporting 6 confirmed deaths, sir.
Yes, there are 6 deaths are there, and these deaths these are, you can say that almost the entire heli totally burned out, and there is nothing left into that, and no emergency or casualty is still reported at Kedarnath Hospital. We are providing high altitude medical services at Kedarnath, Badrinath, but such kind of incident are regular at Kedarnath because we are here since 2013, and we are seeing such incident. You can say that in every year. And now this time the reason is that low visibility, fog, and the heavy pressure of the yatris as well as from the company who are operating these helicopter services there. Yes, please.
So you're saying that despite the weather being inclement, the fact that these aviation companies continue to provide these services, not taking into account the weather situation, that is unfortunately causing these tragedies.
They have so much pressure from the yatris as well as from their own administrations and management, and that they need to fly in such bad weather. And at the Kedarnath, when they fly very low. And here today the weather is not good. Even there is a low visibility is also there. And such incident now are high time, and it's a time that where there should be a permanent office of DGCA here at Kedarnath.
That's an absolutely important point that you're making over there, that there should be a permanent office of the DGC over there. At least authorities should be on the ground so that aviation companies are not put under pressure by pilgrims to in fact fly them, despite the weather indicating that it could pack up any time. That's unfortunate. So, Dr. Bhardwaj, what you're telling us right now is that 6 casualties have been reported, and there is no indication of any others being injured in this accident, or anyone having survived this accident.
No one has reported in the hospital, and the entire heli, you can see in the picture also, in the video also, is totally burned out, and we don't think that someone left into that heli.
Okay. Dr. Bhardwaj, thank you for speaking to India Today. So that is, of course, Dr. Pradeep Bhardwaj, who provides medical facilities and services at the Kedarnath medical station over there. He says, of course, that no injured persons have been brought to the hospital, and he suspects that 6 persons who were on board this helicraft, all 6 persons, unfortunately, as the administration has also confirmed, have died in this very unfortunate tragedy that has taken place this morning in Kedarnath. Ankit, my colleague, of course, is continuously live with us. He's, of course, trying to bring us up to speed with all the developments on the ground. Any word coming in from the administration, Ankit, at the moment?
Well, as of now, it's a very tragic incident. 6 people have been killed, and as per the details we are getting from the administration, that 6 people have died in this crash, and there's a fear that no one has left alive or injured. So all those people who are boarding this chopper have been killed in this tragic incident. This incident was reported at around 12 noon when the chopper was returning from Kedarnath to Pata base, where the chopper was supposed to land. And just 2 kilometers away from Kedarnath in Garun Chatti area, the chopper crashed. And as per the details, the devastating info we are getting is that all the people who were boarding this chopper have been killed. So as we can see in the visuals, the chopper has been completely burned out and split into pieces. So the rescue agencies have also trying to reach, and in a couple of minutes they will reach the area. The investigations will be carried on. But the primarily cause behind this accident is, as being told to us, is heavy fog. Now the question arises that when there was a heavy fog, isn't there anyone to control the flights, or wasn't there any instructions given to the aviation companies that when there's a heavy fog, they shouldn't carry out sorties? Now, this incident has shockingly jittered everyone in the state and the country as well.
Absolutely. Ankit, we'll give you some time to, of course, collect more details from the authorities that you're speaking to on the ground. My colleague Gaurav Sawant is also live with me from the newsroom. Gaurav, now the DGP, in fact, confirming to our colleagues that 6 passengers plus 1 pilot have unfortunately lost their lives in this tragic accident this morning in Uttarakhand. What can you tell us about what have we able to gather from the ground? What happened, Gaurav?
India Today has been able to gather images of the crash site, and if I may, these are the first images that you see. What you can also make out, Polumi, it's raining very heavily. The initial information seems to indicate that the pilot had taken off. As you can see here, it's an Aryan Aviation helicopter. It had 6 passengers on board. It had taken off from Gupkashi, was en route Kedarnath. This, Polumi, incidentally, is a 10-minute long flight. We ourselves have flown this sector very extensively, not just while covering the Kedarnath tragedy in 2013, but also restoration in 2014 and subsequently. And it's a short-haul flight, but it's a very narrow valley through which the helicopter flies. And once again, you can make out from these images that the helicopter crashed. It's some pilgrims who've been able to get to this place between Jangal Chatti and Garud Chatti. So that's just the place where the climb starts for the Kedarnath shrine. So when you walk, it takes several hours. When you fly on board one of these helicopters, that charges about 4,500 rupees one way, or close to 9,000 rupees both ways. It's just a 10-minute short haul flight from Gupkashi to the Kedarnath Dham. There's a helipad there. But it's a narrow helipad, as you can make out from the route. It's a very narrow valley through which between 2 mountains that the helicopters fly. And the weather, when it packs up, helicopter flying anyways, when we spoke to pilots, if you recall, there was a Mi-17 crash during rescue operations and restoration operations. That time the helicopter crashed. The pilots of several other helicopters we interacted with told us that through this narrow valley, it's a very unforgiving valley. When you fly on board a helicopter, for the pilots, it's very tricky. And most of the pilots, incidentally, most of them are ex-army aviation pilots. So what they do is the helicopter is not only gaining height, it's also moving forward at the same time. Now, in this case, the helicopter apparently was trying to turn back, realizing that the weather had packed up. There was an envelope of fog. It could not move forward into the valley. But when it tried to turn back towards the helipad, we are told this crash took place. But of course, these are just preliminary bits of information that are flying. We still will have to wait for an official inquiry to establish the cause of this extremely unfortunate heli crash.
Gaurav, you of course are telling us what exactly happened over there in Uttarakhand at the moment. Of course, the questions that are arising from the ground is that there seems to be pressure in such situations from pilgrims that, on aviation companies that they should fly, that in fact, they should continue with their journey despite the weather. Any details emerging as to whether the pilot was indeed, you can see, you can look at those images from the ground itself. It's raining over there. It's raining over there as that chopper, and you can see the remains of the chopper over there, which have caught fire over there. And of course, there are people now, first responders, who've reached the ground as well. The fact is that if the weather was inclement, if it was raining, it clearly means low visibility. You fly low in such areas as well. Why did the pilot go ahead with the flight?
Polumi, in these cases, it's very clear the pilot has the last word. There may be pressure from the aviation company because, the kapat or the doors of the Kedarnath Dham are about to shut for winters. So a large number of pilgrims want to go and do the darshan and come back as quickly as possible. While there may be pressure for companies, I've interacted personally with several pilots and they are very clear. There is no way that these pilots come under pressure from these aviation companies for the simple reason that they have the last word. They decide whether they are to fly or they are not to fly. Point one. Point two, unfortunately, in these mountains, weather packs up in minutes, you know, the pilot could have taken off, and suddenly the weather packs up. Mountains make their own weather, as they say. And, you know, the pilot, perhaps in his wisdom, and we're still waiting for an official word on this, the pilot may have decided that he wants to turn back. We still do not know, but we will wait for more information to come in. But you're absolutely right. There are times that companies may want to mount pressure, or pilgrims may want to mount pressure, but it's the pilot who has the last word.
Right, so Gaurav there, of course, bringing us all of those details of that tragedy that has in fact taken place in Uttarakhand. The Ministry of Civil Aviation in Delhi is monitoring the situation on the ground. What we do know at the moment is that this chopper was in fact headed from Kedarnath towards Guptkashi, towards base, when this unfortunate tragedy took place. And the reason is, of course, reported to be bad weather. In fact, those images that are coming in from the ground itself show that the chopper had caught fire upon crashing on the ground. You can see multiple pieces of that chopper on the ground itself. शैला रानी, केदारनाथ MLA is over the phone line with us right now. मैम, आप हमें क्या बता सकती हैं कि इस वक्त क्या वहाँ पर जो 6 लोग थे, क्या उनकी मौत कंफर्म्ड है? कोई ऐसे लोग हैं जो इंजर्ड है? रेस्क्यू और रिलीफ ऑपरेशंस के बारे में मैम आप क्या बता सकते हैं?
हाँ जी, ये बहुत दर्दनाक हादसा है। खासकर अभी हमारी यात्रा बहुत चल रही थी, बहुत सारी चुनौतियाँ थी यात्रा की, लेकिन सब अच्छा चल रहा था। तो बता रहे हैं कि 4 लोगों की डेथ हुई है अभी, जो वहाँ पे अफसर ने हमें बताया है, लेकिन रेस्क्यू चल रहा है और अभी हम बहुत ज़्यादा कुछ नहीं बता पा रहे हैं। और मौसम की खराबी भी है इसमें मेन कारण, क्योंकि हम देख रहे हैं पिछले 10 सालों में मौसम में अचानक बादल आ जाता है। मैं भी हैली से अक्सर आती जाती हूँ, तो बारिश आ जाती है, बादल का टुकड़ा आ जाता। तो कह रहे कुछ वहाँ पे ऐसे ही बादल का टुकड़ा आया और गरुड़ चट्टी के ऊपर ये हुआ हादसा। और अक्सर वहाँ पे जगह बहुत अजीब सी है, वैली के लिए मुड़ता है हेलीकॉप्टर और थोड़ा ऊंचाई से नीचे की तरफ आता है। अब ये अभी तक पता नहीं है कि कौन से कारण थे। आर्यन बड़ी अच्छी सेवा दे रहा था, हर किसी के साथ बहुत अच्छा उनका ताल्लुक थे, और ये हमारे लिए बहुत दर्दनाक हादसा है। और इसमें रेस्क्यू बहुत तेजी से चल रहा है और पूरा प्रशासन लगा है।
मैम, मौसम खराब होने के बावजूद ये हेलीकॉप्टर जो है केदारनाथ से गुप्तकाशी की ओर जा रहा था। कुछ लोगों का कहना है, हम केदारनाथ में लोगों से बात कर रहे थे, उनका कहना है कि एक तरह से ये एक कमर्शियल बिजनेस है। इस वजह से जो लोग, जो पिलग्रिम्स होते हैं, जो केदारनाथ जाते हैं, एक प्रेशर बनाते रहते हैं एविएशन कंपनीज पर कि आप चलें, आप उड़े।
हाँ, ये तो होता है, बहुत ज्यादा बनाते हैं प्रेशर। कंपनी तो नहीं, यात्री भी बनाते हैं कि हम इतनी दूर से आए हैं और हमें आज ही चाहे कुछ भी हो, सुबह का टाइम हो, शाम का टाइम हो। और इस बार यात्रा बहुत ज्यादा लोग आ रहे हैं, समय कम है और बहुत ज्यादा प्रेशर प्रशासन पे भी होता है, हम पे भी होता है, तो हेली सेवाओं पे तो हो गई। और मौसम इतना खराब नहीं था, लेकिन अचानक बादल आ रहे हैं। अभी मैंने देखा, मैं अभी गौचर से आई हूँ, तो वहाँ पे भी देखा अचानक बादल आ जाता है तो बड़ा डर सा लगता है हेलीकॉप्टर में। तो अब ये मौसम का बहुत अप और डाउन जो हो रहा है वो हम सब के लिए भी घातक है। और मशीन की बात है, क्या पता क्या कारण रहा, हम सब बहुत दुखी हैं।
जी, तो आप कह रहे हैं कि मैम अचानक से जो मौसम है वो खराब हो गया, कि पहले शायद पायलट को पता था मौसम खराब है, पर प्रेशर के चलते पायलट फिर भी चॉपर को लेकर उड़े?
नहीं, मौसम तो अप और डाउन होता जा रहा है। अगर यहाँ से उड़ा तो ऊपर पता चलता है कि वहाँ पे जो है मौसम खराब हो गया। और मौसम अचानक, हम तो आज देहरादून में है, मौसम अभी सुबह बहुत छटक धूप थी, अभी फिर बादल आ गए, फिर बारिश हो जाएगी, तो कुछ ऐसा भी है।
जी मैम, ये जो हादसा है, प्रधानमंत्री पहुंचने वाले हैं केदारनाथ बद्रीनाथ एक आध दिन में, वो पहुंचेंगे 21-22 वो रहेंगे वहां पर। इस वक्त तो प्रशासन पर काफी दबाव पड़ रहा होगा।
प्रशासन पे बहुत ज्यादा है, बहुत हमारे प्रशासन पे। एक तरफ उन्हें गांव के विकास की बात करनी है, दूसरी तरफ तैयारियों में है, तीसरी तरफ ये हादसा है। तो हमारे लिए ये रेस्क्यू सबसे पहले है और पूरे जोर शोर से हमारा प्रशासन लगा है, क्योंकि जो रेस्क्यू टीम पहुंचेगी भी तो वो देर में पहुंचेगी, लेकिन हमारी जो टीम वहाँ पे है वो पूरा काम कर रही है।
जी, तो आपकी टीम वहां पहुंच चुकी है मैम। रेस्क्यू टीम जो प्रशासन की ओर से, वो आप कह रहे हो कि थोड़ा वक्त लगेगा क्योंकि एरिया ही ऐसा है कि मुश्किल है वहां पहुंचना।
तय, लेकिन रेस्क्यू टीम वहाँ पे है, वो लगे हैं, काम कर रहे हैं।
जी जी,
ठीक है
मैम, थैंक यू हमसे बात करने के लिए। सो दैट इज ऑफ कोर्स शैला रानी, MLA from Kedarnath, who of course expressed her condolences over this tragedy which has taken place in Uttarakhand, saying that the rescue team is doing everything that they can in order to, of course, mitigate the situation. But unfortunately, what sources are telling us at the moment is that 6 passengers and 1 pilot have lost their lives in this unfortunate tragedy. Arvind Ojha is also live with me at the moment. Arvind, आप क्या बता सकते हैं इस हादसे के बारे में? कैसे हुआ, कब हुआ? पहली जानकारी जब आई वो कब आई?
देखिए, तकरीबन आधे घंटे ये पहली जानकारी आई है जब केदारनाथ से फाटा की तरफ जो ये हेलीकॉप्टर है वो जा रहा था। उसी दौरान अभी जो डीजीपी उत्तराखंड ने इंडिया टुडे को बताया है उसके मुताबिक जिस घाटी से होकर ये जा रहा था वहां पे काफी फॉग था, तो अभी ऐसा लगता है कि की वजह से ये हादसा हुआ। और जब हेलीकॉप्टर टकराया है उसके बाद उसमें जोरदार ब्लास्ट हुआ है। अभी जो डीजीपी उत्तराखंड ने बताया है इंडिया टुडे को, उसके मुताबिक 1+6 यानी 1 पायलट और 6 पैसेंजर, कुल मिलाकर 7 लोगों की मौत हुई है। बेहद दर्दनाक ये हादसा है। एसडीआरएफ की टीम, जो उत्तराखंड की टीम है, उत्तराखंड पुलिस की एसडीआरएफ की टीम, वो तुरंत मौके पर पहुंची हुई है और रेस्क्यू ऑपरेशन वहां पर चलाया जा रहा है। लेकिन मौसम भी वहां पर काफी खराब है, बारिश हो रही है, ऐसा लग रहा है कि बर्फबारी भी रुक रुक कर हो रही है, तो मौसम काफी खराब है। और कहीं ना कहीं जो शुरुआती समझ में आ रहा है जिस तरह से हादसा हुआ, वो खराब मौसम की वजह से ये बताया जा रहा है कि हादसा हुआ है। जब हेलीकॉप्टर टकराया है तो उसमें जबरदस्त ब्लास्ट भी हुआ है, ऐसी जानकारी मिली है।
जी अरविंद, रेस्क्यू ऑपरेशंस के बारे में आप क्या बता सकते हैं? क्या एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन, प्रशासन के लोग वहां पहुंच चुके हैं?
जी बिल्कुल, जैसे ही हादसा हुआ तकरीबन 10 से 15 मिनट हुए हैं, जो उत्तराखंड के डीजीपी उन्होंने बताया कि एसडीआरएफ की टीम वहां पर पहुंच गई है और उन्होंने ही ये जानकारी दी है पूरा वेरिफिकेशन करने के बाद कि जो हेलीकॉप्टर था उसमें 1 पायलट जबकि 6 पैसेंजर थे। जैसा कि उन्होंने बताया कि जब हेलीकॉप्टर टकराया है उसके बाद उसमें जोरदार धमाका हुआ है, तो ऐसे में जो डेड बॉडी है उसकी शिनाख्त करना भी एक चैलेंज होगा। हालांकि पैसेंजर्स की डिटेल्स जहां से उड़ान भरी थी वहां पर जरूर होगी, लेकिन एसडीआरएफ वहां पर पहुंच गई है और तस्वीर भी हमें मिली है। फिलहाल जो क्रैश साइट है वहां पर जो बारिश है वो हो रही है और हल्की बर्फबारी हो रही है, तो इस वजह से जो शुरुआती जानकारी हमें मिली है उसके मुताबिक खराब मौसम की वजह से ये हादसा हुआ है। हेलीकॉप्टर जो है वो टकराया है और टकराने के बाद ब्लास्ट भी हुआ, जोरदार धमाके की आवाज आसपास के लोग ने सुनी है और यही ब्रीफिंग डीजीपी उत्तराखंड को दी गई है। फिलहाल एसडीआरएफ वहां पर मौजूद है।
Okay, so SDRF is present on the site at the moment. The rescue operations are underway, but unfortunately authorities confirming that all 7 persons on board, including 1 pilot, have unfortunately lost their lives in this tragic accident this morning in Uttarakhand. We're leaving you with these visuals. We'll be back. News and updates will continue on the other side of this break.
News is about putting people first. Just look at the queues right across. About asking the right questions to those in power. Is money power being used to bring down elected governments? Who will be held accountable for ministerial corruption? It takes no sides.
माँ का दर्द एक दर्द कोई नहीं समझ सकता उस दर्द को.
It reveals. It heals.
Angry people came out on the streets.
Is this the kind of justice system we want in this country? News is all heart and no hatred.
बिल्किस बानो आज क्या कहना चाहेंगी आप?
हमारे साथ जो हुआ है किसी के साथ भी नहीं होना चाहिए.
Experience the news. With me Rajdeep Sardesai, only on India Today.
A shocking revelation has rocked the chess world. An investigation has found that Hans Niemann, the American grandmaster, has cheated more than 100 times. A 72-page report conducted by Chess.com found that he likely received illegal assistance in more than 100 online games, even in games where prize money was at stake. Suspicion rose when 19-year-old Niemann beat the world champion Carlsen while playing with the black pieces at the $500,000 Sinquefield Cup. He ended the world champion Magnus Carlsen's 53-game unbeaten streak in classical over-the-board games. Carlsen first suggested, then outrightly declared that this American was winning through illegitimate means. Niemann's explanation was that he had somehow guessed what opening the...
Chopper crashes just 2 kilometers away from Kedarnath in Uttarakhand. 7 people, including 1 pilot and 6 passengers, have lost their lives. The helicopter was en route from Guptkashi to Kedarnath, and sources say bad weather led to crash. A 7-month-old baby has lost his life after being mauled by a stray dog in one of Noida's high-rise societies. Such was the brutality of the attack that the kid's intestines were pulled out. Massive protests break out in the society demanding ban on stray dogs. Killer potholes of Bengaluru strike again. The 50-year-old woman who was admitted to hospital after falling due to potholes and coming under a bus has succumbed to her injuries. Fresh religious face-off in Karnataka. Right-wing groups have called for a ban on halal meat during Diwali. The fringe outfit staged protests against prominent food outlets like KFC, McDonald's and Pizza Hut. Days after a Kashmiri Pandit was brutally murdered by terrorists, 2 migrant labourers from UP have been killed in Shopia. But National Conference patron Farooq Abdullah continues to call for talks with Pakistan.
तक इंसाफ नहीं होगा ये बंद नहीं, और इसको बंद करने के लिए जितनी भी शोर करते हैं कि कहते हैं कि जहाँ बहुत सब कहते थे पहले 370 से ये हो रहा, आज तो 370 नहीं है.
News coming in right now. Home Minister Amit Shah expresses condolences over the chopper crash near Uttarakhand. The Home Minister has just tweeted about this unfortunate tragedy that has taken place this morning in Uttarakhand when a private chopper was in fact carrying pilgrims from Kedarnath to Guptkashi, and it crashed just 2 kilometers away from Kedarnath into a deep gorge. It broke up into multiple pieces and then caught fire. 7 persons have unfortunately lost their lives in this tragic accident which has taken place in Kedarnath. One of them was the pilot of that flight. In fact, as per preliminary information received by sources, it was a Bell 407 helicopter bearing the call sign VTRPN, which in fact belonged to the aviation company Messrs. Aryan Aviation. It was en route from Kedarnath to Guptkashi, and it is reported that possibly due to bad weather, inclement weather, the chopper crashed into the valley. Rescue operations are underway and first responders have reached the ground as well. But unfortunately, the tragic news that's coming in from the ground is that 1 pilot and 6 passengers who were on board may have lost their lives in this tragic incident. In fact, the Minister for Aviation also, Jyotiraditya Scindia, has tweeted about this, and he said that the helicopter crash in Kedarnath is extremely unfortunate. We are in touch with the state government to ascertain the magnitude of the loss and are constantly monitoring the situation. The ministry, of course, coordinating with the authorities on the ground as we speak, but the administration, of course, completely taken aback with this very tragic incident that has taken place this morning. Earlier, we were speaking to the local MLA as well, Shaila Rani, who said that the weather has been playing spoil sport for a few days, but it wasn't clear if, in fact, the weather was at the time that the pilot took off from Kedarnath, whether it indeed was inclement and if the pilot could have anticipated that it would pack up en route as the pilot moved. It's a very short distance. The flight path is, in fact, a short one from Kedarnath to Guptkashi, where the chopper was headed to. Details, of course, will emerge after a thorough investigation is conducted into this tragic accident, but these are details that are emerging at the moment from the ground itself. The Home Minister, of course, has also tweeted now, and he, in fact, says that this is an extremely sad incident which has happened as far as this chopper crash is concerned. He, of course, has expressed his condolences towards the families of the deceased in this case, and he has, of course, said that this is an unfortunate tragedy. Remember, the authorities will, of course, be conducting investigations into what exactly, in fact, happened with it, whether the weather, in fact, was known to be inclement or whether it packed up en route as far as the weather in the area was concerned. Those images, of course, coming in, multiple images now emerging from the crash site itself. You can see the chopper, which in fact caught fire as soon as it crashed. It broke up into multiple pieces and then it caught fire. This tragedy has taken the lives of 7 persons, including 1 pilot. You can see those multiple pieces of the chopper that are strewn across the hillside as we speak in Uttarakhand. This unfortunate tragedy, in fact, happening in Uttarakhand just a couple of days before the Prime Minister, in fact, is slated to visit Kedarnath and Badrinath shrines in Uttarakhand. He is expected to be there between the 21st and the 22nd of October. The administration now hard-pressed to ensure that the arrangements on the ground are foolproof, as, of course, this unfortunate tragedy and news of it trickles in at the moment. The DGC, of course, monitoring the situation as well. The ministry, of course, looking into the details of this as to what exactly happened and trying to speak to the operators of this aviation company, which in fact claims that it has 6 choppers in its fleet and provides for these short-haul private chopper facilities in the area. It has about 15 dedicated pilots is what are in aviation, the company in question says on its website as well. So this is unfortunately the tragic incident, in fact, that is being reported from Uttarakhand at the moment. This chopper crashed just about 2 kilometers away from Kedarnath shrine. In fact, some of the persons, authorities on the ground that we spoke to earlier as well, suggested that there should be a dedicated DGCA office possibly in the area as well, because there is enough pressure from pilgrims and tourists, in fact, who visit the area, fly in the area, in the region, for chopper companies to operate these flights despite the weather suggesting that they do not do so. Today, of course, you can see in those images that it's been raining. It's raining heavily in the area. Let's speak to the MLA of Kedarnath, Shaila Rani, who's joining us over the phone line right now. Ma'am, इस वक्त की स्थिति के बारे में आप क्या बता सकते हैं? रेस्क्यू ऑपरेशंस के बारे में क्या बता सकते हैं, मैम?
अभी तक तो ये है कि रेस्क्यू की टीम पहुंच गई है, लगातार चल रही है, लेकिन बताया जा रहा है कि हादसे में सभी लोगों की मौत हो गई है, 7 लोगों की, और मौसम की खराबी इसका मुख्य कारण है। और मौसम अक्सर उस घाटी में अप और डाउन रहता है। 1 घंटे में बारिश है तो 1 घंटे में बादल है, 1 घंटे में धूप, और यात्रा का भी बहुत प्रेशर है। और आर्यन तो बहुत अच्छी सेवा लगातार दे रहा था। और यहाँ पे ये जो स्पॉट है गरुड़ चट्टी के ऊपर, इसमें पहले हमारा M17 भी आपदा के बाद टाइम पे रेस्क्यू करके लौट रहा था, तो वहाँ पे भी 16-17 लोग की मौत हो गई थी। फिर ट्रांस भारत का हेलीकॉप्टर भी यहीं पे क्रैश हुआ, इसी स्पॉट है। और आज हमारा आर्यन का भी यहीं पे क्रॉस हुआ। बताया जा रहा है कि 3 यात्री जो हैं बम्बई से हैं और पायलट अभी हमारे बम्बई के हैं और बाकी 3 लोगों का भी पता नहीं चल पाया और लगातार रेस्क्यू जारी है।
जी मैम, तो आप जानकारी दे रही हैं कि जो कुछ यात्री हैं वो बम्बई से हैं, आप बता रही हैं?
हाँ जी, 3 यात्री की बात पुष्टि कर रहे हैं कंपनी वाले।
अच्छा, और पायलट जो है वो भी मुंबई से हैं?
मुंबई से।
जी मैम, आप कह रही थी कि इस वक्त काफ़ी प्रेशर भी होता है